Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair.
Well, if it's a day that ends with or Y, that means there's another StreamYard. That's crazy. Keep that one stuff out of here. Let's see if we can mirror it. How you guys doing? Welcome to. It's not even sending out the notification. So once again, people will just happen upon me. All right, welcome to the Sunday night live stream, the weekend wrap up. This is a very loose conversation, basically going over anything that we went over this week that you don't think we went into enough depth in, and here we are. We had our show last night, which I was really really proud of. For those of you who did not get a chance to watch that show last night, I'm going to put the link in the chat so that you can watch that, because I was pretty proud of that show. Larry, I sent you an email about Spinal Tap. I'm just waiting for it because we had set the number at 100 for Spinal Tap. You did 50. If by chance somebody does the other 50, what day do you want to do Spinal Tap on? Also, next Friday, next Saturday, we're going to marathon some of these. So right now, attached to the top of the chat, if you would like to donate to the cause and suggest a movie, there's a link right there for you to do it. Don't super chat, just do the link right there. Portion of it goes to American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and then the rest goes to the upkeep of the channel. And I'm going to be purchasing some stuff to help us out as far as our reach and all that goes. And getting some things that I think will help the channel. So everything you guys put forth helps. So, all right. Anthony William, are you thinking that Matt Reeves reimagined characters like Hush, Lady Shiva, Black Mass, and Deadshot? No, I don't think he has any of those on his mind. But I could be wrong, but I just don't. Those seem like spectacular characters that don't fit in the universe. How you doing, Larry? Once again, how you doing, Ozzy? And there you go. There's a link for anybody who wants to. Because, like I said, I'm going to be doing probably 2 on Friday and 2 on Saturday. One of those is already gonna. I already got that spot slated one of those 2 days for a Spinal Tap. If we get the other 50 in the donation, Larry already did his part. Yeah, apparently he hurt his rib. What I can understand. Dude, I got the kicker for Kansas City on my fantasy team. This motherfucker's missed a field goal and an extra point. William, we are on the what? In the suite? Are you going to do put heat? Um, retype that for me, Anthony. Russell Wilson. I'm watching this game while I'm talking to you guys too because I got players in it. I'm about to win my game. One of my running backs went out. They were running back for Arizona went out with an injury. So, but luckily I was ahead by enough. I haven't gotten any. Nobody donated for heat yet. I don't believe anybody did. I mean, we haven't set a price for heat. I'd set like 50 for heat. Actually, no. I think we should just set up a flat rate, and you guys all have to do it at once. I mean, just everybody chips in, and we just do it. I think we should just set a flat rate for 100 for any of these movies. To be honest with you, just make it easy. In fact, I should probably change the PayPal thing. Well, nah, because not all one person has to do it. 4 people can do it. But yeah. Now they're getting booed. Can't get in the red zone. Yeah, I watched it. Me and my dad watched it as a kid. I mean, it was on TV. It was already almost done with its run by the time I started watching it because that show started like in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s. I saw it and enjoyed it. It was too rushed in terms of third act. Marlon was good. Oh, him? Yeah, I have not seen him yet. I sent people to go see him, but I have not. I have not gone to see it myself. Let's make sure I'm live. I thought it was all right. I mean, I got it right behind me here, as a matter of fact. There you go. Yeah, we reviewed it the other day, or we reviewed it last Saturday. Yeah, love the covers more than I love the story. Anything happened today? It's been a pretty boring Sunday for the most part. I mean, I've been watching football all day. Usually, I'm doing other things throughout the day, but So many damn games. Matt Fraction is interesting. He has some adult comics too, like Satellites. Yeah, he has a couple of different things. This is the first time I've read some of his stuff. Do an open line. We did one last night. I opened up the panel last night. Is Matt Fraction one of these writers for you that is like the writer that did Man of Steel? Nah, John Byrne. Nah, different era. Yeah, Man of Steel. When you were talking about John Byrne's Man of Steel, 1986, 1987. I had a problem with his portrayal of Superman in that story, but I also had a problem with Crisis too. So that was like a Man of Steel 1987 is a byproduct of Crisis, which I didn't like. So all right, so the Chiefs take over at the one line. They're leading 22-9. Wrestling tips. A lot of people are say both Secret Wars ruined Marvel Comics, and a little bit like you said, Crisis for DC. I agree. I don't ruined. I would not have stopped the Ultimate. One of the biggest things about Secret Wars 2015 is it screwed up the Ultimate imprint, which I thought was doing well enough to not be tampered with. And you had an entire cinematic universe, in my opinion, that was based in large part of those versions of those characters. That you look at that Captain America, that's the Captain America from the Ultimates. Nick Fury is exclusively from the Ultimates. You didn't see a black Nick Fury that looks like Samuel L. Jackson until the Ultimate Universe came along. So I don't necessarily like Spider-Man or Miles Morales version of Spider-Man in Earth 616. So there's a lot of stuff. I wouldn't say it ruined it, but Crisis for me, Crisis didn't necessarily ruin things, but it presented something that once it's presented, the tool of laziness that is the reboot tool. Once it's out there, you're never going to put it back in. And since we've done Crisis, we've done a bunch of useless reboots that really have broken up the continuity, in my opinion. I don't know if I feel like doing a open topic or open panel on a Sunday night stream. And you should have been there last night. We skipping my show. Well, yeah, I think you said it best to stream with Jared. That Crisis of Infinite Earths caused writers to write books to explain what was happening. Yeah, you basically spent the next 4 decades either undoing it or explaining what the hell happened. And if you have to do that, it was a bad idea. That's just my opinion. I wonder what the fuck rat is. Just watching this game. Oh, dude. Some of these guys that are dropping these balls, we're only in the first, 3 weeks of the season. I've seen some drop balls by some people who just just on both ends. The corners that are dropping wide interceptions that they should be taking back to the house. Just making me mad. William, for you, what character do you think is the best story that you feel Matt Fraction ever? I don't read a lot of Matt Fraction though. This is actually the first Matt Fraction book I've actually gone, cover to cover with. I may have read some stuff that he did, but I don't. I'm not really. I didn't really. He didn't really stand out to me as the writer. Let me look at some of the stuff that he's done. Maybe I have. All right, let's see what he's done. He's done Sex Chemicals. Okay, I have read Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen. I have read. Okay, he's a running. Okay, so I he did. Okay, so I did read that. It's been out a while. Let's see where his runs have been. Okay, yeah, he did X Men 512 and 522. So yeah, um, I would say his X Men stuff then, because that's the only other stuff I've read there. Larry, I'd like to thank you for that wicked party. I got to thank Clint, but never got to thank you. Yeah, Larry, we were doing wicked yesterday. Where were you at, man? William, why do you not like Chip Zdarsky as a comic? I just don't know. I the biggest thing Chip Zdarsky did for me that I wasn't complete fan of. I think was his Daredevil run. It just doesn't stand out for me. I don't hate him, but it's just like But his Captain America run, he's taken some bold risks on it. So far, so good. Captain America, yep, Captain America, right here. There's this one. If you read Green Lantern, if you read Green Lantern, what's been some of your favorite stories getting hyped up for Lanterns? Emerald Twilight and Emerald Dawn. Those are the two stories that bought the end of the Hal Jordan era in 1994, 1995, and bought in what I think is the most important moment in Green Lantern history, which was the introduction of Kyle Rayner. That's the ending, beginning, and they got glow in the dark covers. I think they had back to back glow in the dark covers. They resurrected that book from what I consider to be near death because nobody was buying the book, and everybody bellyached about you know how could you do this? Green Lantern means this, and this is the Green Lantern that's been Green Lantern forever, but nobody was buying it. Nobody was buying the book. So I that's where I think are the most important. Um, Hawkeye, I couldn't tell you because I don't read Hawkeye. When it comes to Green Arrow, I mean, I'm gonna go with Mike Grell. What was his run? I mean, because Longbow Hunters. I mean, there's yeah. I'm gonna go with Mike Grell as a Longbow Hunter. Well, let's hold off on that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that. I mean, the whole Rainbow Lantern situation is way down the line, but he could start with it. I don't necessarily need to see that like out immediately because that's like soon, maybe 3 4 years down the line if we're still talking about all this. Talked to a lot of comic fans and they hated the Parallax run of Green Lantern. Why is there such a? Because it's a controversial take on a classic character and most people don't like change in general. I don't know if I necessarily needed him to be Parallax, but I needed him. I understand why they made the bold move to take him out of the picture because you needed to new blood. You needed to reinvigorate that title. Nobody was buying it. All the people who bitched and moaned were not buying that title. So, and in order to make a line with a point of no return, you had to either do one of two things, and they did both: turn him into a sewer villain or kill him. So either one of those is going to cause heat, no matter what you did. But you had to give Kyle Rayner space to grow as a Green Lantern, and you weren't going to do that with Hal Jordan constantly over there. All right, hold on. Let's see. We at here in this game? Victory formation. So yeah, it looks like the Chiefs are going to get their first win of the year. Turn that off. And I've been watching these sketch comedies, UK Mitchell Webb. The Kyle Rayner run, just like any of these runs, had its ups and downs. The first year of the Kyle Rayner run was my favorite, but then in the middle, once he started the more he got intertwined with the DC universe and they accepted him as the Green Lantern, these stories got better. And even when they brought Hal Jordan back, I mean, by the time they brought Hal Jordan back, you're talking about a decade or so with this as the only Green Lantern. So he carried, in my opinion, he carried Green Lantern into a different century. So yeah, those first issues of Kyle Rayner and him learning how to be Kyle Rayner and it coming from a artist point of view, so the constructs were much more articulate, whereas Hal Jordan and Guy Gardner were just using gloves and trucks and stuff, just basic stuff that they can come to their imagination. The Green Lantern ring is only limited. Is what it can do is limited by its user, and Kyle Rayner was an artist, so you got those type of things, and plus it was a brand new Green Lantern that I could bring in brand new customers in and brand new collectors in that weren't 90 and been around since the 60s. And we're dealing with Hal Jordan. And it was the same decision that they were going to make with Spider Man. But Marvel at the time went pussy and decided that, they blinked. Whereas DC, which is hilarious to think of it in these days, DC did not blink. Once they decided that Kyle Rayner, once Ron Mars and Daryl Banks got together and they decided that this was going to be the Green Lantern going forward, period. They stuck by it and DC stuck by them because they got a lot of hate mail. But same question, I was around. I was open in 1994, 1995 when this character first came about. My question to them 30 years ago is the same question I would have asked them today. If each one of you guys that are whining were buying this book, Hal Jordan would still be around. So there you go. Hello, Brad. How are you? I think the Jeff Johns run is still the best. Certain elements of the Jeff John run are the best. The whole yellow impurity explanation was stupid, and I think that the Darkest Night. I think that was Jeff John. That story loses me. I have the book here, and I try to go over it again, and it's so crowded and convoluted with so many elements of it. It just twists my brain. William, how long was Sinestro good before he turned bad? Well, he was bad when you first see him. You just get the origin story. I think that because by the time I saw Sinestro, he was already a heel. But I believe in the same story that he's introduced in is where they give his backstory. Okay, he first appeared in Green Lantern Volume Two. That's Volume One was the Alan Scott version that they recognized, so it was earlier on. It was modified after British actor David Niven. Okay, yeah. Sinestro first meets Hal after already making an alliance with Cord. The latter had already been beaten as weaponers 3 times. Sinestro takes him to Cord um, and is able to. Yeah, so that's where he. By the time you see him, you know he's a former Green Lantern. So the actor, um, because the actor they cast plays a great villain, and he even made an Instagram post saying, "Superman, I will challenge you." Superman's in that universe. I don't mean this to be a controversial question. It means you're about to ask a controversial question. But do you think that despite these stuff times, like with Charlie, uh, despite these tough times, like with Charlie Kirk and Jimmy Kimmel situation, that we can eventually, yeah, yeah. You look out through history. It's in 1968. You had riots and assassinations throughout that entire year. You had a presidential election going on that drove the country apart. You had the Vietnam War going on. I think that no matter how bleak things look right now, I think we evolve. One of the things about America is when we fuck things up, we fix it. You go all the way back to the founding of the country. There was slavery before there was a country. There's not slavery today. You needed civil rights to be able to vote. Now those are under question. Now we're going to have to fight that battle all over again. But the fact that there's no Jim Crow, there's anything. It's a self-correcting country, and it always has been, as long as the people are willing to make the corrections. And if you look throughout the era, it's because the people in the country were willing to make the corrections is why things got better. And I don't think it's going to be any different this time around. Finally, Brad shows up late as usual. Did you have problems?
Anthony, dude, please, not
In
feeling
place
tonight.
week?
In fact, I'm gonna have to put my foot down about jokes of this nature, guys. I'm not okay. It's run its course.
Let's see. No, I'm not saying. I don't feel like having guys up on the screen. About him making that post, I'm assuming they told him it would be a big bad eventually. Well, he is a big bad. He's Sinestro, so. Rayner, he wore a Raiders jacket and 90s Snow shirt. Yeah, he did because Ron Mars and Daryl Banks were both a Nine Inch Nails fan. And in 1995, if you were a Nine Inch Nails fan, that was like you had the Downward Spiral, you had Further Down the Spiral, like in back-to-back years. So yeah, they were big in the pop cultures. I don't know. I don't know if his turning bad will be part of the storyline, or if he's somebody. Generally, when they introduce Sinestro, he's already turned bad, and he's an omen. What he is he's like a lesson to other lanterns that the Guardians use. Like, this is what happens when you use the ring for your own good, your own personal gain, which is against the rules. And it's ironic is because Hal Jordan would eventually do that by trying to reconstruct Coast City. He was using the ring for personal gain, and they took Sinestro out of his prison. He had him in the battery. They encased him in the battery as one of the people to stop Hal Jordan on his way to Oa. So it was kind of like a full circle moment there. So. Yeah, I was available earlier today, so I figure if I'm available, I like to do it early because, like I said, Sunday nights I like to relax and watch some documentaries. And when you have NFL season going on, I like to watch highlights and stuff, and take a look at the fantasy cast or like fantasy football things, and just like kick back. Usually, like I said, I don't get to do that when I start the show at 10:30, so I started at 8. Question: is Kyle Rayner Latino American? Because I've seen people say, well, he's been depicted. He's been depicted by certain artists as such, but as far as his first appearance goes, he's a white guy. But I mean, it's never been so defined that you couldn't. It's not part of his. As I had read it, I had never considered it as part of his culture, like the Blue Beetle, maybe the Blue Beetle. It's in that the newest Blue Beetle. It's ingrained in his culture. Certain other lanterns that are of his fantasy is embedded in that culture and how they wrote them. Earlier on, they did not. So I never took him for that. But it did, like a writer could change all that. Clone Avenger, what has been the biggest comic book event in your store? Does Free Comic Book Day? Free Comic Book Day is to me the most important day of the year for me as far as comic book build. I mean, we have other aspects in the store. We have a science fiction section. We have other sections of the store. We have a Star Trek section, a Star Wars section, Funko Pop section. But as far as like the comic book aspects of things, Free Comic Book Day is the most important day of the year. It's something I look forward to, especially where I am at in the tourist area, because most of my walkthrough and most of my customer clientele is going to come from out of towners and tourists. And Free Comic Book Day is the one day where everybody, no matter where you live in the valley, gives other comic stores a chance by necessity, because we don't all get the same thing on Free Comic Book Day, and some of us order, some of us run out sooner. So it's like bar hopping. So you get a chance to get somebody that generally doesn't live anywhere near you to come out and take a look at what you got, and maybe you plant that seed in their head. You're not going to take them away from their loyal store all the time because they connect with that person. But if they're working in your area, or if they're passing through, if you can get like anywhere between 3 to 5% of that other person's clientele, you put that together with 16, 17 other customers, you've got a bump now. And like I said, it broadens the industry because people are always looking for a economical way to get into comic books, and they're intimidated. And Free Comic Book Day allows you to make the case that you don't have to buy 1,000 copies of this. You don't have to spend this, this amount of money. You can jump in, and these stories are generally engineered for a new collector to get them, not only because the whole program was started by educators to get people reading more, and then as it's gone on, it's turned into a vessel to get more people into comic books. So that alone, each one of us dealers gets to create hopefully long-term collectors that don't know where to get in yet. So those are big. And each time we do Free Comic Day, it gets bigger and bigger. Sometimes it lands on, usually the Free Comic Day, for those of you who don't know, it's always the first Saturday in May. But sometimes it falls on, it's fallen on May 4th, which is recognized as a Star Wars Day, and we've combined the two because we get that sci-fi traffic in plus. But biggest comic book event for the store it's probably that on any given basis, yeah, because it's truly a building block. It's what Black Friday is for other types of retail, but Free Comic Book Day is that for me. Ooh, William Green Lantern villains would you like to see? Like to actually universe to reimagine as either a Wonder Woman villain or a Batman? That's a tough one because I didn't really expect the ones I got, to be honest with you. And I got the villains that I really wanted out there. Ra's al Ghul is out there. He's not a Batman villain, but they're all going to be combined. Obviously, Darkseid coming back into this universe that he created is going to be something else. I don't even know if the Court of Owls would fit in here because the universe is already corrupted. So I'd have to think about that one, Anthony. What would you think about that, Brad?
With Absolute, I've really liked what they've done with Ra's al Ghul as Superman villain, so I kind of would like to see something like that cinematically.
You see, they already got Brainy. I mean, they've already gotten like the characters, my go-to villains already. And Bane, that I wasn't a go-to character for me. They've redone them.
Trying to think. Yeah, but like Brainiac, like reimagined as a Green Lantern villain, that could be interesting. Because I just really think just how smooth the transition Ra's al Ghul's made from Batman to Superman villain and Absolute's just been really, really something. So really, I think Brainiac, you could try that with a Green Lantern.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost when it comes to the Absolute universe, I take the opposite approach, and I turn my mind off as far as jumping to what I want to see, and because what they're giving me is so dramatically different. So that's where I'm at with that one. I'm sorry to give you a half-ass answer, but that's really how I feel about that. Braden, William, and Brad. Did you see the leak of Avengers Doomsday GIF that shows all the Doomsday characters? No, I have not. I'm pretty sure I'll run into it, but have you seen it, Brad?
I have not. Well, no, that I did see. Yeah, I know the one he's talking about.
Okay, wow, I'm behind the 8 ball then because I have not seen it. But I've been watching football all day, so I'm pretty sure there's no way around it. I'm going to run into it.
Yeah, probably.
The Discord server, Bell, I'm not on it, but we do have one.
Yeah.
I got to get back
here
in
and there
it.
on it.
Yeah, it's in the chat. I'm actually going to start doing more with it. Vince set it up for me, but we just had some weird shit going on in there for a while. But as I have come to understand Discord, I will be using it a little bit more.
Are you on Discord, Bell? By the way, I saw your video or your interview with Rhea and Max the other day, so it was pretty cool. So you're on. We've now both been part of their. William has been too. Well, nobody cares about that though, but they've interviewed all three of us.
Yeah.
So
Let's see. I don't think anything's going to fix my broken country. Hey, listen, some people envy your situation in
yeah, it
Australia.
was with you, God, Aaron. It's like, oh man, America, we take Australia's problems any day.
Braden William, how would you feel about a DC if DC announced an absolute booster goal or an absolute blue beetle? Better than I feel about the main universe ones because I can't stand those two characters, and I grew up I couldn't. The sight of Blue Beetle and Booster Gold and the elements that they brought to Justice League, I just didn't like. So much in the way of Bane, which, like I said, I just think is a character an excess character that I have no use for. You look at how they've done him in Absolute. So if they have that same effect and that same approach to a Blue Beetle, which I think we would get, because remember it was Booster Gold. Booster Gold, if you're reading the Superman Prime shit that's going on, and it's very confusing. But if you're watching that, Booster Gold is a major part of what's going on in the All Inside. So it makes sense that we would see him. But I think a dark side inspired version of him, um, I um, I would be down for that because if you dramatically change characters that I don't like, they're no longer the characters I don't like. You see what I mean? So I'm all down for it. Let's see. How you doing, Clint? Yeah. I saw that, and the Packers couldn't. They got blocked. But yeah, the Philly and Rams game, they blocked two field goals, and they ran them back. I mean, one of them was would have been the game winning one. The Rams got to be sick about that one. So who is going to entertain me tonight? Depends on what you deem as entertaining. Do you think we will see Kyle Rayner in live action? Yes. He's going to appear in My Adventures animated series as Jessica Cruz. I don't watch that series. But as far as like in the DCU, I think you're definitely going to see him down the line. And I think the longer the show goes, the more because I don't know what they're going to do with. I don't know who's going to be the main Green Lantern if there's going to be a main Green Lantern or a main Green Lantern, and they may already have a Kyle Rayner that's already gone through this. And what we see in Hal Jordan could be post Parallax. That could be something kind of like the Hal Jordan we see today. He is existing as a Green Lantern with Parallax and all that in his past. So I have to see. They pretty much kept it close to the vest when it comes to the actual nuts and bolts of the story of Lanterns. So it's hard for me to answer that question because there's a chance you could see Kyle Rayner in first episode. Bam, right there. Because where the Green Lantern Corps currently is, they're all there. So depending on where James Gunn and Damon Lindelof has started this universe, after I see episode one Clone Avenger, I'd be able to give you a better answer on that one. William, how did the Broncos versus Chargers game go? I don't think I didn't wasn't watching that game. I think the Chargers. I think the Broncos won that game. I'm not 100% sure. Let me look. If I can find out in 2 seconds. NBA. Let's see. NFL scores. The Broncos. I can't believe Cleveland beat Green Bay. The Browns. Ugh. Let's see. Packers lost to the Browns. Colts beat the Titans. Rams beat the Eagles by. Raiders lost, of course. No, the Chargers won. The Chargers beat the Broncos by a field goal, 23-20. October 23 is the most important day of the year. Oh, yeah, it's Kent's birthday, and then we watch Howard and Duck. Oh, by the way, as I announced beginning of the show, we probably could do a couple of these movies if you guys want to donate. Larry has already done his half for Spinal Tap, so as soon as we complete the other half of that, we'll probably schedule that next week. But I got some space coming up next weekend. We might do a couple on Friday, a couple on Saturday. The link is tied to the top of the chat if you want to make any of those happen. Oh yes, yes. I don't just visibly see the downturn in tourism these days. I can feel it on the monetary level. Um, and like I said, I'm still surviving and all, but it's been a lot. It's been tougher. It hasn't been as easy as it should be. A lot of people are blaming the resource fees. Listen, I think that's bullshit. I'm not saying that that might be part of it, but the tourists that I'm looking for, they bake those resort fees into their price. They're not looking at it. They're looking at when they plan their trip. That's part of their planning. That's all part of their planning. And if they come once and twice a year or quarterly for business events, for games and stuff like that. And just like when I go to San Diego, there are certain things that I would not pay for or do here in Vegas. But when I go to Comic Con, you're on vacation, you're on a business trip, you want to have a good time, you're going to be paying for certain things. So most tourists have that in there. Now the locals, here are like, oh, they're nickel and diming us. I'm like, the strip wasn't built for locals, really. It's built for tourists. The biggest problem that I'm having, and I don't give a shit whether you guys think this is political or not, don't give a fuck. I interact with my customers. We communicate. We send out mailers. We send out, especially my foreign tourists. We send out mailers and get response. And, I message people. I'm like, because once you've had a customer for 3 or 4 years, you know why they're coming out. If I have them from Canada, if you're from Vancouver, we got the Golden Knights out here. Guess what? There's a Golden Knights Vancouver game. A lot of those people will plan their trips around that. If they're from Calgary, so on. The football teams, same thing with those guys. But when it comes like Canadians and then Mexican nationals that cross legally, would be you start hearing things from them and why they're not coming, and it has nothing to do with resort fees. It has a lot to do with what's going on right now. And even though there's a high likelihood that they could get through all that, when you have other options in your home country or near your home country, you just don't want to deal with the hassles. And that's what I'm hearing back from the people that I communicate with. Now, other people can communicate with other people about whatever, but I see people. I mean, we know that we're here for the Canelo Alvarez fight, and the resort fees and that type of stuff did not affect them from packing Allegiant Stadium. But what has, they are not coming as frequently as they are. They are not, spending the kind of dollars that they usually are. And some of these countries are being affected by tariffs. Now, tariffs affect the civilian population of those countries. So if you're in Canada dealing with that, if you're in Mexico dealing with that, if you are from an Asian country dealing with that, the tariffs are against your country, but you're part of that workforce. So the pull to come out to Vegas is dwindled in that regard too. So there's a lot of things that are going on that are really, really taking a hit. And it's not just me. There's all across the board, and it's not just Las Vegas. It's national. Florida. I just read an article where Florida was dealing with the same thing. So there you go. But yeah, I can not just visibly see it, Dante. I can feel it in ways I really don't want to. Santa, okay, I saw that extreme, ginormous lizard-looking Joker that they got, and I'm like, okay, that's overkill. But then again, Scott Snyder has not let me down. So, however that Joker looks, there's a reason for how that Joker looks. Bruce is going to die by the end of the story. Yeah, because everything he faces is like 20 feet tall. I got to run because I'm checking out the new Conjuring. I'll email you about Spinal Tap, William. But Brad, hope you can make that party. And if no one contributes, I'll cover it. Okay. I started reading Lois and Clark Rebirth, Post Crisis Superman, Lois living in Superman in this in 52 universe is just a fun storyline. I love that he's wearing a silver and black suit too. Yeah, it's just a lot of that era. Just the method that we got there was such a turnoff. I'm not a big fan. Cool. Send me an invite and I'll send you. Well, just Bell, just send it to my email address. Because I haven't been on the Discord in a while. I have to get my password and I'll figure it out. But if you just send it to that, that'll do it. When is the watch party though? Because I remember asking on your post. So did Absolute Doomsday? If they did Absolute Doomsday, you would maybe, but shit, you don't need one in this universe. But if they did it, I'm assuming that it would be nothing like the Doomsday that we got in Superman. Um, I just don't. I think Scott Snyder is just not going to do that. But yeah, because every approach that he's taken has been drastically different from the mainline universe, and there's a chance that a lot of the mistakes I think that were made in the creation of Doomsday would be bypassed. So yeah. Oh, did your team lose? Yeah, we can do spot. I got to get with Larry. I got to get with Larry on that one. William, what did you watch last night? AEW. I watched them both. I prioritized AEW All In, and I saw WrestlePalooza, which wasn't awful, but it wasn't just. I mean, I don't know. The only reason they did put it on that same night is to screw with AEW. And you know what Tony Khan did? Tony Khan, he moved his show, which I don't think he should have, but that's fine. That's he has that prerogative. They just AEW, no matter what time of the day it was a better show. They put on a better pay per view. I thought I, I thought as I said, I think it was a paid Raw is what that was. And then the squash match with Cena, I don't understand. I thought that was stupid. And the rest of the matches were too long. That makes tag matches too long. Some of those matches are too long. So yeah, I watched I watched AEW All Out. That was a priority, but then I got around to watching WrestlePalooza after the overlap was done. Question about Las Vegas: are there any normal hotels there, or are all of them connected to casinos? No, there's no hotels here. There's some that don't have. Most of them have gaming licenses though, because of the amount of revenue you bring in. They might not be hotel casinos, but your hotels will have lobbies that have them in there. But most if you're going to build a hotel here, you're going to have at least some poker machines. But there are just normal hotels. Around the city, and then but most of them, I would say 80% of them, Aaron, are going to be hotel casinos because that's the advantage of being in Vegas. That's a revenue stream that you're always going to come out on top with. So yeah, almost all of them do. Dante, it's not just the resort fees. The entire experience has gone up. The buffets, the parking, the lower percentage of winning at the casinos, and cheap eats. Yeah, but for the clientele that I'm talking about, the tourists that I'm talking about, that's all. You know, when you're going, like I said, living here, I can see it, but like I said, when I go somewhere else, I put all that into the overall cost. Um, that, in my opinion, from my interaction with my customers, that's not the ultimate reason that they're not coming in. That might affect maybe a tri-stater or a local or a California or an Arizona person, because now you have Indian reservations that have casinos on them that are as big as some of these casinos out here. But when it comes like to gambling and a lot of these guys, it's not like my parents' generation where they came out and they did a lot of gambling. A lot of these guys are coming out and they're not gambling. EDC is out here. Those kids ain't coming out for gambling. When there's UFC, yes, some of those guys are gambling, but it's not the primary reason. It used to be you came in, you stacked up a bunch of money, and you came and had fun winning and losing some of your money, and you caught a show. Now you have reasons that can be the primary reasons to come to Vegas that have nothing to do with gambling. If you want to go to a football game, you may never stop at a machine. If you want to go see boxing, yeah, you may, but that's the main reason you're here is to in UFC and WrestleMania. Yeah, some of those people gambled, but some of them, after paying for WrestleMania tickets, they couldn't afford to gamble. So I'm not going to say that those fees are not a part of it. In my opinion, I don't believe they are the whole of it. And I think that if there are other things that are more a part of it, then they should be. I'll leave it there. What is your favorite or one of your favorite comic book covers? That Amazing Spider-Man 323 that I've shown you guys that I got signed by Todd McFarlane back in 2023. Man, that's a good question. I mean, some of them are behind me. I mean, this is one of them. This reprint. I have the actual issue at home, but this is the Detective Comics 880 with the crazy Joker on the cover. Um, there's a lot of reasons for me to have favorites though. Like this one right here is one of my more valuable ones. This is an introductory cover of Beta Ray Bill. I love Walt Simonson's artwork on those covers. But if I had to pick one, it's gonna be the Amazing Spider-Man 320 320 23. In fact, let me go get the bear back.
Hmm. So anyway, the Furious is coming up, guys, and it's a Kung Fu Hong Kong martial arts ensemble that Aaron and Brad can't wait for. We don't usually talk about the virtues of Rotten Tomatoes on here, but it's at 100% of Rotten Tomatoes right now, so Rotten Tomatoes got it right for once.
Well, they're both McFarlane covers. So,
and you said talk about it when you're away. You were away.
What are you talking about Kung Fu? I'd like to keep the audience tonight. Let's see.
Well, then we have to talk about nothing but Kung Fu. Yeah.
No, then you'll see the numbers from the Amazing Spider-Man 323. This is I've said over and over again. I've actually done a video. There's a video short on the channel about this cover. I got this cover for the first time back in 1989. I got this cover originally signed by Todd McFarlane. The very first convention that is held at the current San Diego Convention Center when they first opened it. That was where you could just walk up to Todd McFarlane, and nowadays you have to get wristbands and shit. So I got this one signed, and as you can see right there, he signed it. It's a blue writing. I wish he'd signed it in silver, but hey, it's signature. I would reacquire this comic 33 years later, and in 2023, I would be able to get this signed by Todd McFarlane. Now, this is the one I took with me to this year's Comic Con. And because of all the wristbands and the way they handle it in the disorganization Comic Con, I was not able to get this signed. But I will. I'm not going to New York Comic Con because that's just insane. I can't shit like that. But he will be at WonderCon, and I am guaranteed to be at WonderCon because we have press passes for WonderCon. So I would say Batman 423 and Amazing Spider-Man 323 will be my two favorite ones. And these are in the store, but they are not for sale. Yep. For that question. Hope I answered your question. William, for you as a Michael Jackson fan, grew up with him. I don't know how big of a fan I am, but okay. What's the greatest? So basically, what's his most underrated song? I'm gonna say "Man in the Mirror" from Bad Man in the Mirror.
Bet a lot of people were. Yeah, just that question by itself has got me flashing back to right after Michael Jackson died, and his music was inescapable for like 6 months after that. I mean, it was all over the radio. Everybody
tried growing up in 1984.
Yeah, this was where I was born. No, really, it's like we said it here on the show before. It's like he could sell SDs posthumously.
The only place in Vegas that does not have slots is Walmart.
I actually knew a guy back in college. He had gotten tickets for the This Is It concert, so he had tickets, and then that happened. So and that, God, man, how big would that have been?
And the hype for AEW early was so high, and I only went to one live AEW event. It was with Sting dropped when the Raskers to help Darby against the Young Bucks. It was awesome. Yeah, I've been to several AEW events. I've been to Dynamite. I've been to Collision. I've been to several Double or Nothing. So I'm a big AEW live event fan. Did you live in? No, the mob was done. The mob was done before they pushed the mob out finally in the 80s. I came here in 1993. William with Mike Tyson that bought with the Mike Tyson that bought up a few streams ago. I think Mike Tyson fights. What you're saying? Um, was that deep on the strip or one of the hotels deeper in the strip? No, that was at the MGM Grand. Yeah, the Mike Tyson fight. If you're talking about the one where Tupac got shot that night, that was at the MGM Grand. That's where most of the fights were at that point. Mandalay Bay wasn't even. I don't even think that was complete yet. And where Tupac was shot was right off of the Harmon and Koval, which it's not the strip, but it's adjacent. You have to. It's a main artery to the strip. You really you can't get around on and off the strip without going over there. Lower percent of winning machine that hasn't changed since forever. The strip is on the strips. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These things don't. These things didn't change. It's just perception. And you hear about the resort fees. You hear about this. A lot of people, in my opinion, will bring those up, and those are a part of it. But I don't think they are the percentage. People don't want to talk politics half the time. So they want to complain and they want to talk around that, but policies matter. Policies matter when you're talking about policies affect commerce. Policy affects retail. So a lot of people will bring up this reserve, and I'm not saying that those are not off the table completely, but I think there are some other issues there, and I'm hearing it. It's not like I'm guessing. I am emailing. If there wasn't privacy concerns, I would bring up some of the emails that I got people who come over for Europe for Amazing Comic Con. I have people who come over that stop off in Vegas before they go to Comic Con San Diego that are not going that because they don't want to be hassled. So I'm not saying that the resort fees aren't a part of it, but I think there are other things that are a part of it that should not be, and that's an effect we can't adjust for, unfortunately. Let's see, William. What are your favorite Iron Man, Captain America? Covers from Captain America. I mean, Captain America 333 or 332 when he's leaning up against the wall, and the flag is bleeding behind him. That's the day he resigned as Captain America. That was one of the most famous stories. Iron Man. Um, there is, I think it's one of the Iron War. I think it's Iron Man 221 or something like that. And I think Alan Ross redid the cover where it's just his face and all of his enemies are reflecting on his face. Thor, I just showed you. The Thor cover is the first appearance of Beta Ray Bill. This is the first issue on what would be, in my opinion, the definitive arc. That is Thor. And if you look at this arc that went from 337 to 383, a lot of what Thor attempted to do, not very well, in my opinion, came from this arc. So this is my favorite, and it's a basic cover. It's Beta Ray Bill with Molinar slamming through, and this is his first appearance, and the first appearance of a lot of characters that will be used. Okay, I gave you Captain America. Martian Manhunter, I don't have one. I was never connected to that book or anything he's done outside of like Justice League to be. Now, if you're talking about absolute Martian Manhunter, that's I'm still trying to comprehend what I'm looking at when I read that. So I'll have to get back to you on that one. Let's see. Oh dear, Clint. I finally watched Superman on HBO. Hello, Kevin Davis. I do not recall seeing you here before. Welcome to the channel. I finally watched Superman on HBO Max. Was just okay. Film great C plus. Thunderbolts better. Film with action. I think Thunderbolts my favorite comic book movie of 2025. I thought it had enough action in it, but I also think that Thunderbolts is not driven by action. It's driven by emotion. It's driven by character arc. So, but you know what? I will agree with you. I thought Thunderbolts was the best comic book movie of the year. After that, it's Fantastic Four, and then I go with Superman.
Bill's got a question here. When you see my comment about the watch bar, what watch bar are you talking about, Bill?
Yeah, send it in that email. I put my email in the chat there. So go ahead and send me the link via email, and that'll let me recalibrate my my Discord because I don't use Discord on the regular. I'm going to start doing it, but right now I don't use it. So it'll be easier if you sent me the link to the through it, and then if I have to go through Discord, I'll be able to reset everything. Yeah, I love that cover. And like I said, I even did a video where I call it one of the things I'm going to start doing more. I did a segment called Cover Story, and that's the very first one I did. Well, you have Carson City.
Well, there's also Reno,
you have Reno, but
there's a lot of desert.
yeah, tourists go to those places too. I mean, tourists go to those. There's casinos, but for as far as like the population center of Nevada, there's a lot of, like Elko and places like that. There's a lot of open space that in Nevada. Most of it's owned by the Bureau of Land Management because we just don't do anything with it. So yeah, yeah. What he said. Yeah, Carson City is the capital where the government is. Churches don't have slots. They have bingo sometimes, so they don't have slots. I haven't caught up at AEW in a minute. I need to. Kenny Omega is still out. No, Kenny Omega came back. He's taking care of some other health issues to follow up with his diverticulitis, but he's been back. He's been wrestling. He wrestled Gabe Kidd in one of the best matches I've ever seen. They're watching the news. They're watching the news, and it's in the back of their head about if they're coming from Canada. Especially, I get a lot of Canadians, man. There's a lot of Canadians because some of them can drive, but it's a quick, it's not that expensive of a flight. The same price as flying from Seattle to Vegas is you can get from Vancouver to Vegas. You can British Columbia is literally north of Washington State. I mean, it's a cheap flight, and there's bundles, there's deals, and everything else. But when you're dealing with, if you're watching the news and you see news about immigration and you see some of these stands, some of the attitude towards Canada that we've gotten or that's been had, even if you don't want to take a side, you can't, if you're traveling, if you're going to, make investments in hotel rooms and all these other things, the last thing you want to do is be hassled with immigration issues. There's places now in Canada you can go. A lot of people still love to go to Vegas, but if there's any glimpse of a hassle, they're going to go somewhere else. No one wants to do it. If you are going to the grocery store and you have the choice between going to the grocery store where there's a homeless guy out there that's just not going to take no. He wants change. He wants a cigarette. He wants everything. He's there. You can't get past him. And there's another grocery store, same price, same everything else across the street. Now you'd prefer to go to your go-to one, but this guy just won't get out the way. And now he's got his friends there, right? And he can't even get to the exits. So you're going to turn around. You're going to go to the other grocery store where that person's not at. And that's what I'm hearing is that. You could probably force your way past that, but you just don't. If you don't have to deal with it, you're just not going to. But like I said, since 2017, 2018, we've had an influx of Canadians who come in here on rotation because they come to see their team. And hey, come to Vegas too and watch my team. There's a lot of things that draw from things that are outside in the United States borders that Vegas, like a lot of Asian tourists. A lot of Asian tourism. You get a lot of Asian tourism here in Las Vegas, and that's dropped. And a lot of it is because they don't want to deal with some of these issues. So, but they did come out for the Canelo Alvarez fight. But those people who came out for that usually came out for other things too, and much more frequently. And that was a huge fight, and that's what it takes now to bring people who have come out here 2-3 times a year to just come out the one time a year. So I'm not saying, like I said. You guys, people will come at me in the chat. I really don't care. Not chat, but the comments. I'm not saying that's the entirety of the reason, but anybody who's not recognizing it as a significant reason, you're just not thinking straight, in my opinion. You're wanting to avoid a political conversation, but not the consequences of it. So yeah. Let's see. How you doing, Jose? A lifelong fan, probably going to be Daredevil, and right after that's Batman because I was coming of age as a reader during the Frank Miller era, and then that rolled right into the Dark Knight, and then that rolled into Ann Nocenti and John Romita's run on Daredevil and Chris Claremont. But though as far as any single superheroes, it's going to be Daredevil. as a comic book in general, comics in general, it's gonna be X-Men. Chris Claremont's run on X-Men is what I walked right into that run of X-Men, and that's where I was at. Did you have any particular one that turned you?
I think a specific I could think of. Probably just just the ubiquity of Superman and Batman when I was a little kid. Just sort of was my gateway into it. But like I can't think of like specific like comic book story that brought me into it. Those just it's just long term memory doesn't go back that far. Yeah.
All right, next question. Okay, that's an Aussie question. Oh, yeah, actually, you guys are speaking the Aussie language. What are my thoughts on? You guys can ask Brad questions too. He is here. They don't have to be directed towards me. William, what are your thoughts on the cover of Thor's first appearance in Journey of Mystery against the Stoneman of Saturn? It's Jack Kirby, classic Jack Kirby, and it's kind of cool. It's iconic. It's iconic. So even if it's not the greatest cover in the world, it's Journey into Mystery number 83. It's the first appearance of Thor in a Marvel comic. So yeah, I consider it to be iconic. One of my favorite X Force covers is where Wolverine is standing there with half of its adamantium. I remember that cover. My favorite X Force cover is the one that Todd McFarlane did for X Force. Fun fact: if you move to Canada and become a citizen, your student debt goes away. They got socialist healthcare too. Boy, as a hockey fan, can you explain to me the hatred by the original six fan base to teams like Florida and Tampa? Well, a lot of it is aimed towards fan bases, and a lot of it is aimed towards just traditionalism. A lot of people who don't live in those cities, and it was the same against LA for a while before Wayne Gretzky came out. People outside of LA did not take LA seriously because if it wasn't for one of the traditional ice tundras, then there's no way that people living there could understand hockey or have the traditional love for hockey that Montreal, Chicago, Detroit, and Boston did. That's a bias that they're living with. Obviously, if you watch this show, I got holes in walls and places I used to be because of how passionate of a hockey fan I am. They think that if you are not in those original Ice World states and cities, that you could not appreciate hockey if you lived in Florida. I've met fans from Florida that are die-hard fans. I've met fans from Tampa that are die-hard fans. LA, I've gone to the Staples Center and watched my two-time. I looked up at those banners. We're all ride or die. So that's why they think if you didn't come from the traditional regions that hockey was born. But Canadians seem the same way about American teams too. So it's from their point of view, it's a bias that they think hockey belongs in a certain region, and that's old. That's been like decades old. But if you look at now it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's your four of your last five Stanley Cups have come from the state of Florida. And if you go any further back to that, Chicago was like, Chicago and Boston were the last two original six teams to win a Stanley Cup. It hasn't been a Canadian team to win a Stanley Cup since 1993, when Montreal ripped off my Kings. That there may or may not be a curse that I put on there, but hey. Let's see what you're talking here. Brad, what's your favorite character? What's your go? Oh shit! Why did I bring this up? Okay,
That's my go-to karaoke song. Yeah, probably Weird Al. Jurassic Park is Frightening in the Dark.
I don't have one, so we're not answering. I'm not answering.
I've never done karaoke in my life, so
yeah, same here.
I don't really have one.
Brad, have you been listening to any of the new stuff by Linkin Park with a new lead singer that replaced Chester Bennington?
I have not, no. So I'll take a look into that, but I have not thus far, no.
Do I miss living the dream? I'd like to think that I still am. It's not great every single day, but it's still, something I wouldn't really give up. I don't know. how to answer that because I don't know how it was framed. Like the American dream, yeah, I wouldn't live anywhere else. As far as my everyday life, I consider myself to be fortunate that most people will never start a business, will never be able to last their entire adult life doing that, will never be able to have stable sources of income outside of that, will never serve in the military, only 1% of it. I look at the life I live and I think I still am living the dream. Now, is there certain days that it's more bearable than others? Oh, fuck yeah. But overall, if I look back on it in comparison to some things that I've seen other people go to, I think I still am living the dream. Um, so I don't miss it because I still think I'm doing it. The army dream. Now, I was in the army when it was relevant for me in my life to be in the army, and as I evolved, I evolved. I was not my future wasn't parallel, and my goals were not parallel with the army. And once I got that deployment out of the way, I thought that to me that was going to be the height of where I was going to be as far as that. I got the deployment, I did some active duty time, and I have a permanent status as a veteran of a foreign war. And I thought about retirement, I thought about all that stuff, but then I just look at how hard it is for me to get through a week and get things done and get without the military. And it's just those things just weren't happening. And you're having to keep yourself in physical and mental shape for that mission, not just a weekend, but ATs. And I was the battalion training NCO, so I wasn't just a regular reservist when I was in reserve. I was actually in the meetings. I would be there after drill. I was the one that set up AT. I was the one that set up the range. So there was a lot going on, and I'm running a business at the same time, and that's suffering. And even with just the one weekend a month, it's the first weekend of the month, which is usually a very important a time for a retailer. So, I don't miss living that dream. I don't regret ever doing it, but I don't miss it at all. I watched the Batman Hush animated movie yesterday. I know everybody hates it, but it's good stuff in there. I think they took some liberties, I guess, with it that a lot of people that had some issues with. Same thing with Killing Joke, but overall, I thought it was all right. Here's one for you, Brad.
Brad, your martial arts probably follow the scene hardcore. Do you know who's best of it? Do you mean like can you be more specific? Do you mean like in movies and professional fighting and like what would you yeah, I'm not quite sure like what arena are you talking about, or just like generally like I mean like what like who do I really like following in like MMA, UFC, or like karate, kickboxing, or I love Ray Daniels. Oh, he's saying Olympics. You're saying Olympics? Um, do they have? Well, what they have? There's three martial arts categories. There's wushu, taekwondo, and judo. That I'm not as knowledgeable about as far as like Olympic martial arts. So it's like I would need to kind of research that a little bit more. As far as like but like pro fighters on the kind of like more the MMA or kickboxing circuit, like Raymond Daniels, I love that dude. That guy's that guy's crazy awesome to watch in action. I mean, the kicks he could throw are like it's like out of a movie. I mean, the dude,
I'm hearing this person for the very first time, by the way. See, I just learned something new.
he is. Oh yeah, well, look him up on YouTube. Look him up on Raymond Real Deal Daniels. The guy has like the flashiest knockouts you will ever see. So yeah, we're a big fan of that guy.
There's another one for you.
What's your favorite place to live when you guys been around? Probably Hawaii. Lived in Hawaii for 3 years, and that's because that was very formative, for me. I mean, it's like I was living, it's during my formative years, like getting into things like superheroes. Between that when I was living in Arizona, those are really formative years, and then being a the martial arts aficionado that I am. I mean, you live in Hawaii. I mean, it's about the closest you can get to like going to Asia and still being on American territory. So and that really planted the seed for all that and within me. So yeah, probably Hawaii. I would say I was there from '93 to '96.
Oh, what's the most accurate? Oh, I couldn't tell you because I mean, depending on what era you're trying to depict.
Okay, how about this? What's the least accurate?
Like in the army now, Parley Shore or some shit like that. But most accurate that I know of would be Saving Private Ryan. That's because I talked to World War II. I mean, my grandfather talked to World War II people. I talked to some of the people who saw that movie that were still alive back then, and as far as I understand that would be the most accurate. As far as basic training and anything like that goes, I mean, Full Metal Jacket was Marines like 8 years before I got in, so I can't even use that. So I would say Saving Private Ryan. Just thought of Kurt Angle versus Shane 2001. Shane McMahon. I thought if you're talking about that match, I can't put that in my top 10 because Shane McMahon wasn't as good a wrestler in 2001 as he would actually be. And Kurt Angle was one of the best in the world.
Well, but yes, when we're talking about Army movies, World War II movies, what have you, we all know what the undisputed best one is, and it just came out. It's Prisoner of War with Scott Adkins. Yes, thank you for bringing that, Baron.
Hearing about this right now for
Yes.
the first time.
Well, you're a loser then.
I did not live in Stuttgart. No.
I don't. That's in Germany, right?
Yes.
Did we ever go there? I need to ask them if we ever like venture there. I mean, we were like, what base did we go? Where there a lot? We definitely Ramstein a lot. Like Ramstein, and that was that the base you were born on?
No, I was born in Berlin Army Hospital. I was
Okay,
born near the Berlin Wall.
Like probably
I've been to Ramstein because that's
Ramstein.
in.
Yeah, Ramstein and God, what was the name of the other base? The big base there that we went to. It might have been Stuttgart. Yeah, it might have been Stuttgart. So I need to let that. I need to ask my dad about that again. But yeah, definitely Ramstein was there plenty.
Yep, and the place where I was born is still there. An Army hospital.
Aaron's clarifying the Olympics has taekwondo, judo, boxing, wrestling, and everything. Okay, really? I didn't realize that. I must have missed that. They introduced karate specifically. Also, they also have wushu too. So for like combat sports, martial arts, the Olympics, it's wushu, taekwondo, judo, boxing, wrestling, and now karate. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, thank you for letting me know, Aaron. I don't know how that got past me if they had actually made karate an Olympic sport. I knew about the others.
Yeah, I'm looking at the map where I was born as opposed to where the wall was at. It's like really close. William, do you think will be seen as I would choose AJ Styles or Shane McMahon? I wouldn't choose Shane McMahon. You'd probably get booed out of the arena. You charge all that money to bring back Shane McMahon. You'd probably have people fighting. AJ Styles, Randy Orton. I would have it be Randy Orton. Anybody got any? Once again, guys, your time to. We're gonna stack these up this weekend. So if you're interested, here you go. And when you type it in the notes section, just type in the movie you're thinking, and if we can do it, then we'll depending on how much you contributed and if we met our goal on it. If we can't, you'll be refunded immediately. So I just saw a gigantic piece of chocolate. Superman 2025. Took you like 12 years to see it. William, who would win a match, specifically Iron Man? I mean, Kurt Angle wrestled more of them, so I would go with Kurt Angle. But that's the only reason why, is because he wrestled so many of them. Were you able to get Martin from the natives of the island? You mean Americans? That's for you, Brad. Brad, did you freeze? Yeah, he's frozen. Yeah, now you're muted.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I did because Power Rangers and Mortal Kombat kind of planted the seed of it, and like I said, Hawaii is like such a microcosm of Asia, so that definitely planted the seed of my interest in martial arts. And I jumped, as a little kid, I kind of I circled around different karate and taekwondo classes when I was from the age of like 6, going up. I didn't really, again, I was little bit hyperactive, so I don't know if I was ready to commit. It wasn't until I was 15 when I really committed, and I started Taekwondo, and I've been, totally, invested in that world ever since. But Hawaii was what planted the seed for it all in my mind.
Yes, I was born in a country that no longer
Yeah,
exists.
that is true.
I was born in West Germany, and now I was 16 years after I was born. It was reunified as Germany. So yes, I was born in a country that no longer exists. Technically, I am a citizen of Germany. Whereas had the wall had stayed up, I would be a citizen of West Germany. As far as dual citizenship, yes, Kurt Angle won a gold medal in the Olympics. So yeah, he's legit. He's a legit actual wrestler. Happy the beginning Daredevil
Oh,
Born. It
yeah.
depends.
No, that's
Depends
confirmed.
on.
It's
Yeah,
greenlit.
yeah. For me, it depends on whether I am going to be there for season 3. It depends on what I get in season 2.
Well,
I'm
I
not.
mean,
I'm not
and here,
wholly committed to diving into season 3. It depends on how season 2 rolls out. If they go in one direction, I won't be there. If they go in another, I will be. It's
well, and
that simple.
here's the thing also about that. Let's say you guys have like a big, strong enemy you have to go up against, and you're the guy who has to kind of lead the charge against the big crime boss, and he's really formidable, and he's got political power. He's the mayor of New York now. He's physically very strong. Now, he's a tough cookie. You fought him before. So do you want allies to help you take this guy down? He's got his henchmen, got all kinds of reinforcements on that. So with reinforcements, allies take him down. Do you round up a bunch of homeless people to help take him down, or B, those other folks you fought with previously, the one who has the glowing fist and the chick who's got super strength and the guy with the bulletproof skin? Maybe those guys might be of slightly more tactical
All right.
efficiency.
Back on topic. So if it goes in that direction that he's talking about,
Yeah, if it goes that direction, that's the direction you're going. That's
I'm not going to hate watch it. I'm not going
again,
to.
season 80. After
That's why when I heard them say they're set for season 3, that's fine. I don't hate watch things. Once things start going down that road, I'm not gonna do watch parties for it here because I'm not gonna waste my time. If it goes in that direction, if it stays consistent with what made the show strong, then I'll be there. But if not, like I said, that's why that announcement about season 3. All right, sure. By the time we get to season 3, there will be plenty of other things to watch if Daredevil takes that turn.
Yeah, like the other Netflix characters coming back
that we don't need.
Yeah. There's already like 3 out of 5 of them on the show now.
Yeah, but this isn't Netflix. And I think people you guys need to understand this. This isn't Netflix, and this isn't when that show aired. There's a problem. Remember what I tell you guys about nostalgia? Fuck your memories. If it doesn't work for business, then you shouldn't do it. This is not 2015. This is not 2016, 17. The world has changed. Storytelling has changed. Streaming storytelling has changed. And there were a lot of weak parts in those latter seasons of Daredevil that don't transfer over well. They didn't work then. So be careful. Make the Daredevil show for 2025, 2026, 2027. If you want to watch reruns of the Netflix stuff, guess what? It's on Disney Plus too. But don't clutter this show with keep your eye on the ball. But once again, like I said, there's other things that I can watch. I'm not going to be in the chat. I'm not going to be, making posts like, oh my God, no. If I see it going in that direction, I got a backlog of things I can watch. I can easily not watch Daredevil Born Again. Rational Skeptic.
Oh, hell, all the time, man. All the time. It was when we first got there, it was about got there August 2000 and we didn't go back home. Well, we did go back home about a month because my uncle passed away. Not long after, so we did go back home about a month into it. But like from that point on, from like October 2000, I wasn't back stateside again until about April of 2003. And then that was our spring break that year, and those did the same. We took the same trip back the following year about the same time, and then we moved back home June of 2005. That was right when right after I graduated from high school, my dad retired from active duty. So, but yeah, all time, man.
Oh, you're lying. So you're Bell Angle? Just kidding. I know that's not your real name, but don't give out your real name on here. But now you just gave out your last name, but no, don't do that either. So. You guys are talking about Superman 2025. I thought we got out of. Thought we got away from there. I've heard this. I've heard that echoed by several people. There's some people who enjoyed the Flash more than they enjoyed Superman. That's not an outlying opinion. I know everybody says, "Oh, you know," they'll probably try to shit on that opinion, but um, I think the Flash was tampered with too much for me to put it in that category. But I thought it was. I had a lot of fun. I don't regret going to see it.
Again, I think the Flash it was just released into a really bad situation.
I wasn't. I think they're stupid.
Yeah, I'm not super into like the South Park guys, their stuff and all that stuff.
Pray,
yeah.
whatever.
I did like the show they did. That's My Bush after Bush was elected, and they wanted to do it. Initially, they were gonna from the 2000 election. It was going to be because they were pretty sure that Gore was going to win. It was going to be like Everybody Loves Al, and they had to retool at the last minute after how that whole shit show of the 2000 election went down. I dug that show a lot though. That's My Bush because it's like the idea of like the president in the way like as a sitcom. I dug that a lot.
I think in my life on this planet Earth, I think I've watched 8 minutes of South Park in my entire life. I've just never been into it. I love all 3 seasons of Daredevil. The last season, if I had a time machine and I could unwatch it, I would. That's how I felt about the last season. I thought the last season it's like they had a finite amount of people in the writer's room, and then they didn't lock the doors, and a whole bunch of people came in there with a bunch of ideas that would have worked somewhere else, just not on the show that they were working on. And as far as wanting that for the MCU, fuck no, I don't want that for the MCU. That wouldn't work in the MCU with the oversight that they have. So that's a hope that I have going into this next season, is that the oversight that is the MCU will hinder the clutter. Because remember, they didn't have that, and they were their own thing. Now you're in a structure to where that might not be, acceptable for what the MCU storytelling is. So hopefully somebody steps in and says, no, we're not doing this again. But like I said, I'll know the first couple episodes. We'll have watch parties for the first and second episode. I think I'd give it 2 episodes. If I feel it going in that other direction, those will be the 2 episodes that we do.
Tactically sound direction for taking down the Kingpin.
And if it goes towards clutter, I don't want to waste my time, and I don't want to waste your guys' time. So I think Man of Tomorrow is going to be. I don't even think that's going to be the name, but Man of Tomorrow is going to be significantly better than the first one. I don't think it's going to be Legacy either. Oh, I know. Yeah, that one. No, I think you can because you're going to have Woman of Tomorrow. Yeah, they got rid of Woman of Tomorrow. I think they'll get rid of Man of Tomorrow. Or I would hope that as he does these things, as he writes more scripts and he fills his universe out, that everything he does is better than the last one. So I'm hoping it will be significantly better than Superman. There's a lot of room to improve from Superman 2025. Yeah, I thought it was dog hair. Because you told me that was your husband. So you're Belle or dog hair. I'm just kidding. Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that's what that's fine. You guys can have that conversation. I'm just tired of talking to you.
No, I have not learned Lua. No, not.
Do you think the Punisher will be on Daredevil Born Again? Yes, definitely.
Well, that's to go without saying. I mean, the way it ended.
Yeah. The rest of that shit, though. I mean, like I said, if they bring in all that other stuff, then that's where it's going to lose
characters like that they're tactically needed to take down the Kingpin.
Brad's mind works differently.
Tactically,
shit that actually works.
Again, like homeless folks with like
even the tactical bullshit that we're not. It's entertainment.
Yeah.
We're not playing fucking checkers or battleship. We're watching a show.
Guy with pushing the shopping carts. Like I'm gonna pull you up here to take down the Kingpin because you're more useful than the guy with the iron fist.
Born Again season 2 as a special. Yeah, I think he's definitely going to be in season 2. Brave New Day, Brand New Day, featured in Doomsday. I don't know if he's going to be in Doomsday.
Yeah, Doomsday, yeah, kind of like.
But just that it seems too much to be. It depends on how I'm not a big fan of him being in Spider-Man. I'm a big fan of Spider-Man being in Spider-Man, but I'm not the biggest fan. I guess I'll have to wait to see. His special is just going to be a one shot, so that's not that's not too much. Like I said, I don't think he's going to be in Doomsday. That's just me. All right, anybody got any other questions? This is your time. This is your time to wrap up the week. Because I know sometimes we can't go forever on certain topics, but this is the loose end of the show. So if you have anything relevant, I don't think I don't know. I don't think the Punisher will be there. I just won't work within the Defenders. And first of all, if like I said, if I even hear that you guys, I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm not going to get into arguments about it. I'm just not going to give a fuck. If I even hear Defenders in season 2, other than a reference to, remember when we did that back in the old Netflix show? If I see execution of Defenders, then like I said, I will leave that for you guys to enjoy. I'm not going to argue with anybody. I don't fucking care about what anybody thinks about it. If I see that shit in this show in the MCU, that'll be it for me.
Again, I just put it to you guys like the Kingpin and his forces around him.
Okay. Even if what
who
Brad
is most useful in this fight?
Who fucking cares?
I imagine Matt Murdock cares.
I'm not there for strategy. I joined the fucking military for strategy. When I'm watching a comic book character and I'm watching a story be played out, I want that story to flow. One of the things that will lose me, and it doesn't matter what it is, if your story's all muddled up and there's no momentum and there's no effect, there's things in there and things start getting crowded, and with each time you do it, we're taking me further and further away from who I tuned in to see, then I just go to watch something else. It's just that simple. Won't even make a post about it. I just will stop watching. And all I'm saying is, we'll start with those watch parties. And if it goes the direction of the latter parts of the Netflix series, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. If I want to watch 2 of those 3 seasons, they're on Disney Plus now. I don't need to relive the Netflix series to go forward with this. So, but yeah, I don't think, like I said, Punisher being there, I'm fine with Bernthal being there. But the clutter, no. The clutter, do find some other
strategy depending on how you look at it.
I don't know if you're joking or being serious, but it's still stupid. It's
thinking of like, we have a tough cookie to take down. We need all the help we can get, and these guys are more
okay. So let's fuck up the Daredevil show. With all
these guys over here are more useful than the homeless folks.
So you should know now. You don't need to be taking Brad seriously when we talk about this.
We absolutely take it seriously. Oh, by the way, yeah, this also got some news today too. Tom Holland, he had a concussion doing a stunt on Brave New Day or Brand New Day, and
we touched on it at the beginning.
Yeah, so
before you got in,
it sounded like he's. I mean, it's not like cracking.
It's a rib injury. He'll be all right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest. I wouldn't care if Defenders are there. I will. If they're there for a significant amount of time, and like I said, I'm tuning in for Daredevil. You want to make a Defenders show that I don't need to watch? That's fine. I'm tuning in for Daredevil. Or I just need a good Daredevil story. Yeah, and I wasn't getting that when he was on screen with Clutter. So no.
Oh, Aaron, this is Aaron here. It looks like the She-Hulk won't be in the future MCU because of the actions. I think it's more because this show was terrible.
It's because of what she said about
I saw that about
and you know what, Aaron, that doesn't mean anything. People get over this stuff. I mean, Gina Carano, who
she's got like a new show in the works now too.
Yeah,
like it's Logan.
I don't know who the studio is, but I doubt a major studio.
No, this is not what she was doing before. This is pretty. I didn't look that up. It's like, I don't know.
Is it one of the big studios?
It's one of the big streamers. It's going to be a streaming series.
Yeah, because I stopped paying attention to her because she wasn't relevant to me anymore. And like I said, if I'm a major studio, why would you want to deal with all that again? When there's other people out there that you can hire. So, but when it comes to Tatiana Maslov, um, that's a there's after this is over, there's a lot of people who these studios are going to hire that are going to have differing opinions about this, and business is going to get done. It would be different if it was just her, but there's a lot of the majority of people in her profession are saying the same thing.
Oh,
It's not the same as the Gina Carano situation.
well, by the way, on that the show that she's on, it's actually some of the Get Out producers are part of that.
Ooh.
Not Jordan Peele, but some of the Get Out producers of her Gina Carano's new shit. It's called Logan's Reign, and some of the Get Out producers are not Jordan Peele, but some other guys involved with Get Out.
What is Get Out? What is Get Out producers?
Yeah.
Are you talking about somebody who
Get Out,
but not the actual person? Jordan Peele.
Let me see. I got their names in here. No, he was the director. Developed by Straightwire Entertainment.
Okay, so not a major studio.
Yes, has partnered with Get Out and BlacKkKlansman producer Sean Reddick and Yvette Yates Reddick's Impossible Dream Entertainment. Yes, so these are some of the folks involved with Get Out, BlacKkKlansman.
I guess it would be beneficial for a studio like that. I would be shocked if I ever saw her with Disney again.
I know that Adi Shankar is also. I wouldn't write it off. I
would question the sanity and intelligence of anybody who did. Yeah. Because why? There are other actresses that you could hire that don't come with that baggage. It's just that easy. I mean, if I need a female lead, there's plenty that don't have that baggage that I can hire. Whereas Tatiana Maslov, that's different because you're talking about an entire movement within the actor community, and that's the majority. But it's not this. I don't think she's going to have a problem if they really wanted to get it done again, because you have people within.
Well, yeah, because she's not the only one doing this.
That's what I'm saying. That's like the majority.
Again, I think the bigger issue with further She-Hulk is the fact that the show was terrible.
But she's talking about she's going to be used again, regardless of how people felt about the show.
I'm not.
They've already said they've been saying that She-Hulk is still a relevant character. She might not get another.
They were saying they make Blade for 8 years, so.
No, you're talking about making a Blade movie. I'm talking about using She-Hulk going forward. She's part of the MCU. You'll see her again. And I don't think this will stop her from being seen again in the MCU, simply because Disney would have to they wouldn't have anybody to work with, because the majority of people that work under them have expressed these opinions, and they're not going to fire them all, and they're not going to stop using them all. They'll get past it. It's different when it's an isolated individual saying, things that don't represent the company like that, like the Carano situation was. Than it is when you basically they know they're going to have to come to terms with this. But yeah, I think it's a different situation. But like I said, I would be surprised if a major studio, could be wrong, but why would
I don't know if I go this far for it, but
I'm not. I didn't even know why you brought that up. That collapses.
I give it a year. I would.
Have you ever had to hire anybody?
I've never had to hire anybody, but
have you ever had to deal with the liability of the people you hire?
Well,
have you ever had to have a concern? Yes, it does. Have you ever had to have the concern that the moving pieces that you put in place may cause you issues within parts of your company?
Well, yeah, but
that's something you have to think about.
But that's happened with other people before.
And other people have had to go through it. And other people have had to
get. So he wouldn't be the first to come out the other end.
Is there some preference that you would want her in something?
I'm just saying, I would not write it off.
For the foreseeable future, I would. Because you're exposing yourself to the same thing you just got out of. How smart would that be? And that goes for anybody. If I hired you and you caused a bunch of shit, you're fucking radioactive to me. I don't care how talented you are. If I bring you in and the story becomes the shit whatever you were involved in, I can't run my business now. I can't make my move. I can't even promote the stuff right now because the conversation is not your ability for what I hired you for. It's for some bullshit you said somewhere else that didn't represent the company. Now keep that in mind. I got a whole bunch of other people that can do what you do. Why would I deal with you? I mean, I'm just using you as an example. Why would I deal with you when you bring things to the franchise I just don't need? It's just easier to go get somebody else.
Again, it's like she was a popular character on that show. It's again, I would
not popular for enough not to get rid of her.
Well, they didn't recast her either.
She was a height of her popularity was when she got fired.
And,
so
and that's the other thing. That's the other thing about it too is I'm still not even clear on exactly what she did to anger everybody.
You don't have to be though. It's neither do I. You're not the boss. It's not your product that she's representing. From a fan's point of view, that doesn't mean shit because you and me, we're not paying for it. We're not on the hook for something someone says. We don't have people within certain levels representing them. And if you were to sign with me and you misrepresent me, you're fired.
Yeah, but they decided that was a bad decision with the settlement.
No, they just settled out. All they did was settle out of court. They didn't open arms and say, "Oh, this court thing is over. You're back." No.
I mean, they said in the statement, "We look forward to working together in the future."
That's bullshit, dude. You fucking believe that?
Yeah. I get
okay. See, that's preference. There's no business reason why you would do this. You'd be insane, and especially anytime soon. It would have to be years removed. Why would you do that when there's other options? She's the only actress in the world. Okay, yeah, maybe. Or just do a different project. But they literally took her, they felt the need, and they didn't bring her back.
Yeah, but they didn't recast her either.
This because her character really wasn't. I mean, that show had more holes in it than anything. But they didn't bring her back. They didn't even recast her role because they didn't think the role was that relevant. They moved on without the role. Something they should have done with other. But no, I don't see it. Like I said, if somebody works for your franchise and they publicly say things that misrepresent your brand, then why would you go back to unless they're going to sign something?
I mean, and that might have happened. That might have happened.
It's part of the settlement, but even then, why? I mean,
Ford's on my side.
So what? Neither one of you motherfuckers would have to hire anybody or ever at Ford. How many people have you hired somebody that is part of a multi-million-dollar company where their representation could affect your product? Otherwise, have your opinion. No problem with having your opinion. But I wouldn't. Fuck that. Nothing against her personally. It's just not.
They might. Yeah.
It's just not worth it. You already have a hard enough problem promoting, putting out things, distributing things, press, all these things. These are all things that have to go right in order for your product to be put in the right light. Why would you add something that would make that more difficult?
Because they decided that it was it was the wrong call to make the last time.
No, they didn't.
They did.
They settled out of court. No, you said just because you settle out of court. Have you ever been in a courtroom?
Yes.
Have you ever had to settle out? Have you ever won or lost a lawsuit? Not on TV. I'm talking about, have you ever had to settle out of court?
No, I haven't settled out of court.
Okay, settling out of court doesn't mean shit as far as, we made the wrong decision. No, we want this over. That's what settling out of court means. We want this over. We are done spending time on this. We want this over. Let's put a bow on this so we can both move in our different directions.
I don't think this would happen because that's already been made.
No, it's already in the can.
Now they'd have to do some really swift last minute reshoots. It's like, how do you plug somebody like that significant
that you've pretty much gone on without? For how long?
I mean, well, now one thing I could see them doing is they might do an end credits scene where they said, okay, this is how we're reintegrating the character into the.
They would have to.
But that's about it.
This were to happen, let's argue. It's devil's advocate. If this were to happen, I don't think it's going to, but let's say it does happen. The contract, the fine print on that contract is going to be like the Bible. And she would have to agree to that. Now, is she gonna want to agree with? Is she changed to the point where I don't know. But if I'm saying, okay, for some reason we need this person, even though I don't know why you'd want to go back to all this, but you're gonna sign here, here, and here. And the moment you go outside of what you just put your initials on, then you're gone again. Is anybody
I mean,
either side want to
Disney did it with
go
Gun,
through
but I
it?
mean, they brought back Gun for the same thing.
No, she was saying stuff in real time. She was asked to stop. She didn't. They got rid of her. That is no comparison to finding 10-year-old tweets. Your boss literally asked you in real time to stop doing what you were doing. She decided not to. She was an employee. The boss fired her.
And
Now
they've
in real
decided,
time, I can see. No, 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 no.
and they have
I can see
decided
it
now that
10
that was
years
a
ago.
mistake.
You think that is a mistake. You and I don't mean shit. Do you understand where we fall in this? Do you understand where our
reading how it
opinions
played
are in
out.
this? None of us run shit. It's not my money. It's not my company she would be causing a problem for.
And they
You have a
decided,
fanboy opinion, and that's
and they
okay.
have decided that it would not be causing a problem
You,
anymore.
where are you getting this shit from?
I'm watching how this
Go fucking find
unfolded.
me what you're talking about. Go pull it up right now where it says they're going to open her back with open arms.
It's in the
Don't
statement. We
paraphrase
look forward to
the
working together
exact
in the future.
words. Don't reword shit.
Okay.
Go get
Okay,
what you're
Gina
talking
Carano.
about. And just because I say I work with
Okay.
somebody in the future, that's like when they fired Walter Amada. We look forward to working with Walter in the future. They weren't
They did not
with
say
him.
they were
We're
working with him
done
in the
with him.
future.
They
They did
were
not
done
make
with
any
it.
PR. They said,
It's a
"Get your ass
safe
out of here."
landing. You believe that they're just because they say some pleasantries that's what they're going to
They
immediately
didn't give
do
him
anytime soon?
pleasantries. They didn't give him
That's
pleasantries.
pleasantries. We look
They
to
were-
working with you in the future. Yeah, okay, sure. That's some frosting bullshit, is what that is. Why the fuck are we talking about Gina Carano?
Because somebody in
Who
the
do I
chat
need to
brought it up.
ban? Who do I need to ban in the chat for bringing this bullshit up? I don't fucking care about Gina Carano. I haven't cared about. I didn't even care about her when we were watching the show. She wasn't she wasn't the Mandalorian. She wasn't Grogu. Everybody else was a support character. That's all she was.
Okay, here it is. So this is the statement that Disney made in the when the satellite came out. Miss Carano was always well respected by her directors, co-stars, and staff, and she worked hard to perfect her craft while treating her colleagues with kindness and respect. Lucasfilm said, "I'm reading this off of CNN." Well, Lucasfilm said in a statement, "With this lawsuit concluded, we look forward to identifying opportunities to work together with Miss Carano in the near future."
That's settlement talk.
That's verbatim. That's not me
Anybody
paraphrasing.
who's been in here has been in a courtroom and has settled or been any part of settlement. That's settlement talk. That's settlement talk. That's what that is. That's some shit. What do you expect them to say? Fuck her. We're never going to work with her again. I'm glad this is over.
They could have said nothing.
Then no, you generally say something. Like I said, these aren't fans. These aren't fans in the courtroom. These are people who decided and made a conscious decision to separate from her. And like I said, you can think that, and that's fine. But it comes down to insubordination. The employee didn't do what the boss asked the employee to do. That gets you fired in a lot of places. A lot of times you don't get asked to stop. They asked her to stop. They went to her. So why is this woman on my
Well, again, it's like I wouldn't. All I'm saying is I wouldn't write off like further.
I would, but then again, who knows? Who knows? The Jared Leto situation is
Well, what he's accused of is quite a bit.
Yeah, and a lot of those are accusations that a lot of times.
Which that kind of makes you wonder too. Like, are they, because Tron seems to be like proceeding, as is. So I was actually kind of wondering, are they going to was there going to be any kind of statement, or were they going to say like, yeah, we've settled that out of court or what have you? Because again,
there's no actual.
Well, I get that, but like, has anything with that gone to court?
Because there's nothing. There's not enough evidence for it to go forward. I mean, there's no court case. There's nothing there. No, the court just settled. The court was just basically the mediators.
Yeah, the court, court just they don't.
That's all they did.
I said, they don't care either way. Well, I mean, what's the best way for it? The courts, there's to parse the whole situation.
Rachel Zegler, they never went to Rachel Zegler and said stop. They had meetings with her.
And the other thing that I kind of took some exception to was without getting overly political about it, was the thing that the one producer, or the story that because of while she was doing that Gal Gadot had to have more security around her because of that. It's like, okay, that's an issue.
That Uh, I, Gal Gadot probably has to have extra security about her because of the overall situation, which is unfortunate. But that's not, you can't really necessarily tie that to her particular opinion. And once again, with Rachel Zegler, you would have to get rid of a lot of people in Hollywood if you were going to act against Rachel Zegler, and they're just not going to do that because her opinion, whether you agree with it or not, is mirrored by a lot of people in the field that these producers and studios use. So, and then once again, it's not up for me, Brad, or the chat to decide what's right or wrong for that company. It's their company. It's their product. You're going to disagree with their opinion or why. It doesn't mean shit because we ain't shit in that chain of events. We are nowhere on that totem pole. If the company decides that you are misrepresenting them and they ask you, and that's it. And if they decide not to ask one person over another, that's their prerogative. That's their company. That's their decision. I just think is why, and this is not limited to Gina Carano. If with anybody that you would have these issues, if you had to go to court with them, unless they were, like I said, somebody brought up Scarlett Johansson. Now you want to do business because hey,
well, that was because of like the whole day and date.
Yeah, that was the thing. But there was some bad blood there. But guess what? Scarlett Johansson's a draw or a perceived draw. If it's somebody that's a perceived draw and you think you can do that kind of buku business with them, then you have a business decision to make. And whichever one you make, it's going to be the right one. But now maybe it would be different if we were talking, if Gina Carano was on the level of, oh, she's going to be in that movie, I'm there type of situation. Maybe it would be different. But if it's not that level of person, dude, I mean, I wouldn't even deal with it. It's too much of a hassle. It's too much of a hassle. And that's not just her. That's anybody that brings you to the brink of this situation that's not like that AAA lister, fuck it, this person can save my movie type of situation. The movie don't even have to be that good, but this person's type of in it. I mean, we have actresses that are of that level, Nicole Kidman level. I mean, people who are like, who they are. Gina Carano, I don't consider to be one of those people. So there's the risk reward factor is there as well. If it was some A-listers, it's just like the guy on the baseball team. He's a piece of shit, right? But if he's hitting 340, he's on the team. If he's hitting 50 home runs, he's on the team. Be an asshole, he's a pain in the ass to deal with, but our job is to win baseball games, so we're going to deal with him for a while. But if he's hitting 133 with no home runs and a high strikeout percentage and a couple of errors, he's gone. So the rules are not the same for everybody. The rules are dictated by the people who are running it because it's their thing. But like I said, I don't have anything personal against her at all. I just, why would you deal with this again when it's gonna, unless, like I said, like to your point, unless there's like an ironclad, this is what is agreed to. And if you don't sign here, we don't have a deal type of situation. But who knows if she would even want to be restricted in that regard. It's better for her to go on and do something with a company like this that is not going to have like a publicly traded situation. You know what I mean? I wouldn't. But like I said, you guys are fighting a battle that doesn't have anything to do with the actual action and the company. You have an opinion about what went on. That's fine. I'm not knocking your opinion. But as far as execution, as far as like, I need to do this thing and I need to, it being in the best light. We're not fighting fanboy arguments. We're making a product. That's two different things. You know what I mean? So I would pass. Now I would pass on anybody with that history though, if it were me. But who knows? Maybe she gets casted tomorrow. Maybe Monday we hear about her getting added in. We're delaying the Mandalorian so we can add Gina Carano in because
if they do that, it probably won't. It will probably just like an end credits scene, like we're going back with. Or we're bringing Cara Dune back into it.
Which I would even doubt.
That's easy to do that. Like you can do that like a weekend. Add that out.
Yeah, I like I said, mm-hmm. I think that they how long has it been since she's been part of the show? And the show is done. The show is done. This should be the wrap up to this story, as far as I know. After we're done, it should be.
Yeah. And see, that's where I take more exception with her because she's actually like putting.
That again, what was that last one?
Is the
I missed the last one.
If they're able to like say it's like she's actually like, putting her co-stars' safety at peril.
Now, at some point, what were the details on that? Because the director and the producer, they can go to the studio and say, we don't. and the studio is the one with the final say.
Well, at that point, the movie's
But
like
I also don't.
made, so it's like they can't fire her from something that's already been made.
Yeah, or and it just hurts your promo. But to be honest with you, the Zegler situation and the Kimmel situation are kind of trickier for the studios because they are in the minority as far as how some of the people who are in the company aren't even on board with what's happening. But because the whole FCC thing and the whole threats and all that, they're just playing ball because they have to. So there's a little bit of more empathy there. Like I said, I mean, there are a lot of people out there, like if they're like the Z's and the Z listers, or they're not the top of the bill, they're just not going to get away. It's just not worth it for a studio to deal with the hassle. It's worth it for a Robert Downey Jr. But like if Robert Downey Jr. is
Robert Downey Jr. now.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. now. If Robert Downey Jr. now said some crazy shit, and then Pete Davidson said the same crazy shit, guess who's going? It's going to be Pete Davidson. So, HSA might be the worst PR. And Zachary Levi. See, the thing about that's another one. I have nothing against Zachary Levi, but once he starts acting that way, why would I bring him back into my circle again? You see what I mean? Because now the stuff he is saying and doing become the story while I'm trying to make a movie and promote a movie. We're here to tell the story that the studio and the director and the producer are putting out, not you going on Instagram every 5 minutes saying crazy. Congratulations on the baby and everything, by the way. But all the stuff, the breakdowns he was having on live streams and stuff like that I can't have that in my product. I wish him well, but I got to go get somebody else. And it's different when you're talking about it from a fan point of view to where you can be empathetic to that. But when you're running the show and you're on the hook for that, you can't have that as part of your deal. And like I said, and everybody is going to be different. Every situation is going to be different. But and every level is going to be there. Like people say, there are levels to this. There are levels. There are A-listers that are going to get away with some stuff. There are people who have Oscars on their shelf that are going to probably get away with some stuff because for the overall betterment of the product, the studio has decided this person it's better to have this person involved than not. Whereas if it's a C-lister, they're just going to cut them loose.
Well, I mean, to that point, I mean, like Zegler, I mean, all respect, but not exactly an A-lister.
Not an A-lister, but she's been in A-list properties, and she's I would consider her a higher A-lister than maybe Gina Carano. But even still, when it came to the some of the stuff that Gina Carano was saying versus some of the stuff that, like I said, was being echoed throughout the entire art community, you have a decision to make. And like I said, we don't have to be okay with their decision. They don't play by our rules.
But again, who was Gina Carano getting death threats sent to by her, what she was posting?
But Gal Gadot is going to get death threats regardless. And I'm sorry to say that. We live in that society. It's pathetic. It sucks. And she should not be having to deal with that. But there's a certain situation that pervades all of that. Whether she was ever in a musical or ever in a movie with Rachel Zegler or not. It's the unfortunate circumstances of our world. And not getting into them on this show.
Gasoline on that fire either.
But that situation wasn't created by that particular person. And once again, your opinion about it, I respect your opinion about it, but in the cause and flow of things, doesn't mean shit. You're not the CEO of these companies. Your decision making as a fan is not the same. And that goes for me too. Our decision makings on our opinions on this small screen don't mean shit in the flow of things. As far as, is it my risk? Is it my investors' money? Is it my advertisers' money? Is it my reputation on the line? Is it my company, my product on the line? A fan can have an opinion that has no consequences. A CEO or studio head, different game. So I can respect all the opinions that you guys are throwing in the chat. Now put yourself in the position of having to run shit, be on the line for shit, and be responsible for shit. That's a different conversation. Just understand that is all I'm saying. And it's sometimes the path of least resistance to get your thing done might be the better one to take. But like with the Gal Gadot situation, that's just an unfortunate situation. Aaron
had an article about that whole thing.
Once again, I don't dispute any of that. But the decision that the boss made at the end of the day, It's the only one that matters. That's it. We can agree with the decision to keep Rachel Zegler or cast her ever again, and she continues to get casted. By the way,
and putting the CEO hat on, like you're saying, it's like, I mean, if it can be determined that
you're not putting the CEO
on
hat
payroll
on
who is like making statements that leading to,
you're not putting the CEO hat because that person's not going to give a fuck about anything you just said. They're going to look at their product and how it affects their product, period. They're not going to get into the hypothetical shit like that. They're not going to get into the philosophical bullshit. They're going to be like, how does this affect my product here, here, and here? And that's where their decision is going to be made. You can put on the CEO hat, but you're not really putting it on if you're including things like that are not going to be relevant to them. You can agree or disagree with them, but that's just how that goes. Once again, your opinion about shit is not irrelevant. It's just not relevant in the decision-making process of those people who have to make the decisions. That's what I'm all saying. Aaron, like I said, that all this could be true. Once again,
unlike the chap,
nobody on the screen.
And again, it's like, if I'm the one signing the checks, and it's like,
all right, yeah, once again,
nothing but bombs she's been in, and she's getting people death threats sent to them.
And I'm speaking to everybody. Your opinion about whether she gets casted or not doesn't mean fuck. The people who cast her have done their whatever they think their research is. They have used whatever they think the metrics mean to them. They have looked at their project. They have looked at their script. They have spoken with their casting directors, and they have made that decision to cast her and to continue to cast her. Your opinion is relevant to you. My opinion is relevant to me. But now you're putting yourself in the position of the people who actually make these decisions, and none of us are qualified. We look like fucking clowns when we think we are. All right? Good.
Well, again, that's the point I was, putting all those factors together. If this player I'm talking about is like has a history of being in nothing but underperformers, and is like caught creating a situation potentially where other cast members.
That's great. I appreciate your point of view. You ain't the one making that decision. If you were, Brad, then that would be 100% relevant. You're not. I am not. Chappie is not. You guys have an opinion. That's great. Doesn't mean shit in the corporate scheme of things because we ain't in there. We ain't even in the mailroom. We're on YouTube. I understand. I can appreciate your opinions on this. That's fine, guys. But you're trying to ask why this person would continue to be cast. That people make those decisions based on shit that we will never be able to comprehend. We think we can comprehend because we see some shit on YouTube. We read some shit somewhere. But people make these decisions. Casting directors, producers, they make decisions on whether they cast people, on whether they hire directors on criteria that we are just not a part of. And that's all I want you guys to understand. It's like you may not understand the decision making. It's not for you to understand. As a consumer, you just decide not to see it. You can boycott that product. You can say, I'm not going to, that person did it. Fuck, not going to see that. But that's your part in the game. Remember. But as far as like, wow, why would this person be cast? There's a whole bunch of people that have been in some really, really shitty box office performing movies. They continue to get roles. There are directors, some of whom I regard highly, that had consecutive bomb after bomb after bomb and then finally got a hit. So the people who make this decision aren't using chat room and YouTube criteria to make these decisions. Just understand that. You don't have the proof to show anybody. Aaron, none of us do. None of us do.
No, we got the people in the people involved with the movie in the article saying they had to do this.
Okay, but you're talking about whether that would affect the decision to keep Rachel Zegler. You have an opinion. Aaron has an opinion how things should go out. That's fine. But the boss kept her. Whatever the decision
he
that
kept
the boss
her because the movie was made at that point. There was no firing her at that stage.
Okay, but other people have hired this woman. She's not hurting for work.
What's she been hired for since? So what?
Pull her up. She's got movies coming out. You asked me this before when we pulled her out. But once again, guys, I'm not going to go full screen again. You're not the boss. You're the boss at the box office when you decide not to see her, not whether she merits being casting or not. None of us speaking right now, not me, not you, not anybody in the chat, are qualified to make those decisions. We don't have the criteria. We don't have the scripts. It's not our. We're not spending the millions. We'll spend 12 fucking bucks and think that we should, we know everything. You're talking about people who put millions on this decision making. That's where you got to like know that electric fence that separates us fanboys from actual doers. And it's a really high voltage fence that you really should pay attention to. That's all I'm saying. All right, who brought up Gina Carano? Fucked up the show.
I don't know if we quite say the same with Will Bowl. That guy's the kind of the clown prince of,
Yeah, but you know what? Somebody still finances his movies.
I don't know who.
Somebody, once again, just because we think this is awful, we think this is nobody. This person's awful. This person will never get this going. We're saying that from the safety of our keyboards in a fucking webcam and a tiny little screen. We are not in the decision rooms where these are being made. Just understand that. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Guilty. Hello, Ray. I didn't even know Ray came up in here.
Hey, Ray.
Yeah, watching a movie called Kangaroo, and you're living in Australia. I'm going to leave that alone.
Yeah. You assault Aaron with like the kangaroo stuff every time she's on.
She sent me some. She's on board with it.
By the way,
I see.
I
smell it. No, I are Gina Carano bias. I'm just we have these conversations which are cool to have up until the point where you guys try to figure out why somebody's going to get hired or not. And just like me, I put myself in that gap. I wouldn't touch if I had to go to court with you over that, and you're not a massive draw that I think I can make my investors money for. I'm not going to deal with you again. It's just too much of a hassle. It's just easier to deal with somebody else. But Disney is the one that makes that. I don't think they will do it again. But we could wake up tomorrow. She's in. We're doing a whole whatever her character was named. We're doing a whole movie about her. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the fact that this was a hassle will probably keep that from happening for quite a while. But it's their decision. It was their decision to separate from her. Yeah, so I mean, and when it comes to Rachel Zegler, it was their whoever hires her. It's they're taking into account things that we're not even throwing around in this chat or on the screen. Jared Leto's the same way. Disney and those producers, trust me when I tell you before they go on, they did a full investigation on all that. And they made their decision based on that. We are not privy to the investigation of Jared Leto as far as Disney and Fox and all that goes. None of these things. We have what leaks out on like, chats and stories like that, and we try to piece that together, and then we try to piece together the crumbs that we have and say, well, how can you do that? That would be none of us have that. Just like the Corona situation. Maybe they did sign an ironclad contract so they don't bind themselves back in the situation again, which is best for both parties. I don't know whether they did or not. I'm just assuming that it would be, but assume. There you go. So those rules apply to me too. We're just, it's a fun conversation to have up to a point where we realize it's cool for me to talk about the spaceship that gets launched in outer space until I start thinking, oh shit, how could I fly that? Or maybe could I bring that back in from reentry? No, fucking moron. I don't know what I'm doing. So no, there's not a bias. It's just a situation where we just need to understand we know what we know and we don't know what we don't know. Let's see. I've only seen her in Shazam! Fury of the Gods. That's it. I don't have any plans. West Side Story, I wasn't going to see. Wasn't going to that. I'm not saying I have no preference for her one way or another. Okay, so I'm going to revisit that so that you don't mistake what I said. The studio, as far as I know, as far as the studio goes, and as far as I know, I don't know how that conversation went. from the side, and I don't know who is the final decision maker. The final decision maker is the studio. But unfortunately, Gal Gadot is going to be dealing with situations like that broadly, and it's not fair. I'm going to tell you outright, it's not. I don't like what she's going through. I'm not going to go into my Middle East frame of mind here tonight, but I don't think any human should be subjected to that over that, and I think that's unfortunate. But once again, if somebody decides to hire Rachel Zegler again, their decision making process is something where we are not privy to. I know William would try and fly a spaceship if he was in the situation of that alien show. If I had no choice, I'd do my best because we're all going to die.
What situation?
You're talking about where the ship that was crashing an alien Earth.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what you do when you're a ship that's.
Yeah, I don't have a choice. But if it was like me, if there's like capable people that know what they're doing, I'm not going to come in from the passenger area and be like, maybe you should push that button. And that's essentially what we are. When we have our opinions about actors, actresses, directors, that's essentially where we are. We're the unqualified. We're qualified to ride. We're not qualified to fly. We're not qualified to pilot, is what I mean. Finally saw Superman 2020. Oh, wow. There's a lot of people who are just not seeing this. I rated 6.7 out of 10. Thought it was
I think we both gave it about a 7.
Yeah, that's right. Paul, you're consistent with where I was. I gave it a solid 7.
And Belle was asking if we saw her last comment. I'm looking. Like, what was your last comment before the one where you asked that? Belle, I'm trying to find that. Can you go ahead and type it again? Because I'm not sure.
You're doing that Anthony Montano stuff where I got to go dig it.
Oh, God. Rational says Kevin Spacey. I mean,
once again, here's the thing now. All right, we could say that. Ooh, you know what? You're involved in some shit. I personally, and I love Kevin Spacey's work. But if I were producing a film, if I were running a studio, I can't do it.
Well, it's not especially like those Christmas Eve videos he does every other year.
Those are creepy by themselves. Those are really creepy. But
yeah,
just the fact that he's involved in the things that he's involved into, how can I work on my project? How can I promote my project when you're attached to this? It's the same thing when people go through accusations. People are like, well, the company shouldn't have fired them because no, the company has a job to do. And they have a story to tell. They have a product to produce. They can't have this baggage, on their product. It's not fair to everyone else working on that, and has money invested into it, and lives invested to it, to bring something on that now becomes a distraction. So whatever movie I put Kevin, once he gets up to the level of mass produced movies, what's going to be? What are we talking about when it comes to him? It's not going to be the movie he's in. He had to be removed. He had to be removed from an Academy Award level performance spot and replaced with Christopher Plummer because they couldn't deal with that. And that movie was done. And they took him out of that movie and put in somebody else.
And they did that quick. That was like
So it doesn't really matter if the movie's done or not. He wasn't in it, as much as like certain other people, but it's their decision, and I don't always agree with this. They say if fucking Warner Brothers or somebody says, you know what, we're gonna put Kevin Spacey on the A list with all these resolved issues, I'm gonna have an issue with it personally. And you know what I do as a consumer? I don't know if I can go see that. I don't know if I want to be a part of it.
Here's Belle's comment. She's wondering where your email is.
But yeah, the rights and the wrongs and our opinions, that's great for us to chat about. And everybody's, yes, that's great. But like, understand where that falls, though. There's a lot of stuff that we'll never know about any of these conversations. We'll never know the Gina Carano, the success profit's going to be sealed. Whatever was said to any of these people that you guys don't think should be anywhere or rehired again, we don't know the conversations, and we don't know the criteria of the people doing the hiring. And if they choose to hire these people again, now you as a customer can be like, fuck that. I'm not going to go watch that person. I'm going to go watch people who made the whole hullabaloo about when it was, whatever person that was accused of something. You have the ability, you have the right to say, I'm putting my wallet back in my pocket, put my credit card away, and I'm not supporting. That is where you are the boss. That is where you are the CEO. As a consumer, you can withhold your finances. But and then you leave the rest of the people to make their decision based on that. And if that person becomes so much of a liability that they're not considered as a draw, then those people have to make decisions. But even those decisions are beyond us. So, Gina Carano, what you fucked up my shows.
Oh yeah, by the way, here's the because a lot of the reporting about all that behind the scenes stuff on Snow White is like, yeah, but it also comes from that journalist. So, yeah.
That's another thing. It's the information that we're banting about and spreading around is not always coming from the most objective. Some of this shit could be 100% true. Some of it can be not in the context that we need. And all of it could not be in the context that a CEO or a producer or a studio head would need to be able to make a different decision than somebody who's relying on information from any given, article. CEOs are not going to work on articles. Studio heads are not going to work on articles. They're going to have their own internal situations.
This article didn't call upon her though to like take any shot to Zack Snyder though. So that's also it's like because that's where she.
But there's always going to be my favorite person in the world, the most elusive person, unnamed sources and unnamed this and unnamed that. And then, like I said, when you're running a company, you can't. You can't rely on that.
Yeah.
Why are you getting blocked, Hosea? Yeah. Do I agree?
He lost a huge audience too after all that stuff happened.
But he's still viable to a studio at some point.
Well, probably at this point, probably more viable as a filmmaker than as a like in front of the camera.
His name's still going to be on it. Do I agree with ever hiring Mel Gibson again? That's not relevant. It's not relevant. It's not my money. I can have an opinion, but that opinion I need to understand just because I have an opinion where that opinion where it falls in as far as like relevancy goes. Why do I want to deal with that again? Do I want the interviews about Mel Gibson to be about some of the all the stuff he said, or do I want the interviews to be about the movie that we're supposed to be working on? See, it's a tough kerfuffle. Don't block you. Why would I haven't. There's only certain people I block around here, and that's the people who are just not bringing anything to the conversation. Let's go flying. Let's get some flying kangaroo that kill people. Okay, you are clearly on your plane, lad. Jose, I think I'm a bonehead for the most part.
Of course you are. I don't like Kung Fu.
I just want to make sure that the conversation we are having is in context of where we're at as far as like understanding reality of the situations. And I am only giving you, like I said, Brad is 100% correct that Gina Carano could get hired tomorrow by Disney. My opinion, take it for what it is that they would just avoid that. It's not that particular level of actress. No offense to Gina Carano, but you're not like Nicole Kidman. You're not like a J-Lo or I can't know better. Who knows? But you know what I mean. Any of those, you're not a Robert Downey Jr. type of situation where we're worrying how much we're gonna pay you, not if you're worth it or not. Like you're not of that type, like a Gerald or Oscar award winning level of people. And fair or unfair, those people, the demand and whatever for those people is gonna change the rules for them. Like I said, the guy who's hitting 133 can't fuck up like the guy hitting 333 can. Let's see. Oh, you're talking about your Cowboys there? Yeah. Oof. I don't know about Diddy. He's got some the fact that they ain't let Diddy out.
First of all, the fact that he's like kind of behind bars.
Yeah, and he's not even being let out on bail or anything. No bail. He's just being held. Could get pardoned. Not my stream.
At the they've made
Not
the
my
effort
stream.
to. They've reached out to the parties who would do that.
Not the stream for that. Never say never. Never say
I
never.
mean, Bill Cosby got let out early, so you know.
Yeah, not that motherfucker. Yeah. All right, William Roman Polanski was nominated. He won an Oscar, and won even though he wasn't allowed in the country by U.S. authorities. Why did the Oscars overlook his crimes? Because in their opinion, the Oscars, and this has been something that they've mandated for decades, is that if somebody puts a movie into the field, they're going to judge the movie based on the movie and based on when they watch the movie. But that's something else different. When it's the movie, if because there's been actors and stuff that have been caught up in controversies and everything else. John Wayne. There's been a lot of actors, and they choose to not get involved in that aspect of it. And then obviously there was never a conviction because he fled to Poland before he could be arrested in here. So they just made a conscious decision that they were judging the movie, they were judging the content, and they left the legal stuff for the law enforcement and legal people. I'm not saying 100% whether I agree with that or not. That's just how their stance was, and that they said that at the time too. By the way, oh yeah, money makes me, and you know what makes people forget even quicker? Making money for people. Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing, guys. I mean, that is where I think people don't realize just how powerful they are when it comes to the consumer world. Ask Disney right now where that 4 point whatever billion went. They ain't happy about that.
That's in the
There'll be
space of
some
like a week.
conversations had.
That's space of like a week.
Yeah, I don't know where that's going to be next week.
They are feeling that shit.
That is the power of a consumer. That is your power. Not in guessing what a CEO is going to do based on meetings we'll never be in. You know exactly what you can do. When you don't want to go see something, you can say, fuck that. I'm going to cancel that. I'm not going to that. I'm not part of that. And that is your power as a consumer. That is your role, and that is your part in that meeting. You may not be in the meeting where all the details are at, but you can be on the outside and saying, you know what, I'm not down for it. And eventually, if it gets hard enough, and like I said, people brought up Rachel Zegler, it hasn't been financially a struggle for enough people to not cast her. She's a draw on some level. Not for me. Don't be Zegler fan. No. I saw her in one movie, and she was in the movie. It wasn't like I was like, well, fuck, I'm here to see Rachel Zegler. I was barely there to see Levi, and the movie wasn't that good. So, there's a guy who looks like me. Well, my apologies to him. First off, I say because I'm black force. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see where. Oh, now people are gonna go looking. I have not, but I'm going to. I want to bring Arnie back on the show before while we do it. Spider-Man, Brand New Day, and Avengers, Doomsday. Wow, you went ABBA. How old are you? I got to. It was a joke. It was a joke, Bill. I know. I've met Porth.
He's been on screen too. So.
Yeah, I've met him in person. I tried to push him off the ladder.
I remember one time it was at least a year ago. It was either William and Forth or William and Spidey. They were I think it was William and Forth. They were kind of going.
Yeah, we've never seen Spidey.
They were going back. Yeah, but they're going back and forth on some topic, and like Forth felt one way, William felt another. And I pulled up a clip from 8 Mile with the first like rap you hear from that. And Forth said something like, "Oh, well, you pull that out right when the two black dudes are arguing." It's like, are you trying to tell us something, Brad? It's Forth being Forth.
Oh, son of William, what would you think if Spider-Man was in Daredevil Born Again season 2? That's going to take a lot of contractual shit, but it could happen.
Yeah, because they filmed that already, haven't they?
Yeah, and plus you have the whole Sony thing where they go back
Again,
and
yeah.
forth.
The what when you talk about characters at that level, like the only way I can see Spidey as a cameo, and it might
As a cameo or one show,
yeah.
or a cameo. I could see that. That
Well,
wouldn't be a
and
problem.
especially because Daredevil is gonna be in Brand New Day, so I could see a cameo, just maybe kind of like sort of plant the seeds for that a little bit. But he's not gonna be like teaming up with a Daredevil to not cameo. Again, that's what the guy with the glowing fist is for. Again, because that's tactically the
You
best way.
don't even really need that. You don't really need any of that. But if you were going to do a Daredevil, once again, clutter. If you bring all these characters and they're in for a couple minutes or they're for one episode, you give me 8, 9, 10 episodes and they're in one episode, one little story, and they're referred to and all that. But if they're sprinkled throughout the 8 episodes, that's clutter to me. Spider-Man, even Spider-Man, I would only do for one story, one episode. One episode. They're both in New York. Hey, I'm over and I need there's somebody in Hell's Kitchen I need help with. I need you. That I could see that happening, but I wouldn't want to see Spider-Man in there. See, clutter is not just who's in it; it's the frequency of them being in it. You can put as many people as you want to in something. That's why this Spider-Man Brand New Day, I'm holding out a little bit of hope. It's not the amount of people that are on the guest list; it's how they're utilized. If you properly place them and you give them a proper amount of time, this could all work. But if they become the story, then it's a problem for me. You grew up listening to ABBA? Yeah, I like ABBA. I'm just weird here. Not really, not at the moment. He one show I could see him. I mean, I could see it happening. I could see him. I could see him doing it. I don't think he's too big for the small screen. On a regular basis, yeah, but it's just something like an episode. I think that would be cool. I think that would help Daredevil's ratings because Batman, Spider Man, or characters. I think this is a mistake. Well, Spider Man, I'm all right with because Batman. I think it's a mistake not to do a procedural genre with Batman. I think that would be something I could pitch and I could think that could work. I especially with the habits of TV viewing now and where we're at as far as how we watch these. Law and Order's been on air longer than some of the people in the chat have been alive, and it's doing well. The first 48 is in its 20th season. We watch these procedural evidence, forensic, CSI, investigative, things like that. I think it would be perfect to put Batman in the midst of all that and tell that through the point of view of a superhero. Him talking with detectives, him doing the work, him in the Batcave doing the forensics labs and things like that. There's things like that. Him discussing, like we were talking about last night, where we're discussing how some of his tech works. Just things like that. I think a series with Batman would be fine. I'd love to see it. What's the best bank robbery film? Town. Oh, Heat. The Town is really good. Heat is on another level.
One more recently that I really dug was Ambulance. From Michael Bay.
If it wasn't so fucking ridiculous, that's a really fun movie to watch. By the way, that's a really fun movie.
That was like that was kind of a comeback for him. And you know what?
Bullshit.
I saw that. This is like probably like of the last. That was a hell of like a weekend for me because I saw that Everything Everywhere All at Once and the first Sonic, all in the space of like 5 days, and all those are absurd in their own way.
Yeah, but Ambulance is complete crazy. But look who did it. So yeah.
Yeah. No, but man, I dug the shit out of the Ambulance.
Yeah, it's fun. But the heat is on so many.
Heat.
It's not just a back. Yeah, it's not just a bank robbery scene. That scene at the coffee, the cafe where Robert De Niro and Al Pacino on the first time on the screen together, which I can't believe since they won Academy Award. But that scene where Hannah, Al Pacino's character, is talking about the dream that he's had, where I got this dream, and all my victims are sitting at a table. I'm at the head of the table. And some of them, they got bloodshot hemorrhages in their eye because the neighbor didn't find them in 3 or 4 days later. They all look at each other. And then they all look at me. And then De Niro's like, that's it? That's the dream? Yeah, that's it. And then De Niro's like, I got this dream where I'm dreaming and I'm drowning and I can't wake up, and then that's it. And and he's like, "What's that about?" He's like, "Not enough time." For what? To do what I want to do. And the conversation that they're having is because neither one of them want to be doing what they want to. Their lives fucking suck right now. The only thing that they have is Hannah has the force because he's been divorced 3 times. He mentioned that during the conversation. And we're what's his face? I forgot De Niro's character's name, but his character is trying. The whole movie is about him doing this one last score and going to South America and getting out of the crime. They all are headed towards this thing that whoever does it is going to go on. I love that movie, and the bank robbery scene is the best bank robbery scene you're ever going. That inspired a real bank robbery. That North Hollywood bank robbery scene.
Yeah.
Those fools thought that they could pull that shit off. The people who the people who watched Heat thought that they could pull that shit off, and they almost did.
Yeah.
But remember, in Heat, they had all those people. And then that scene where Val Kilmer is, let me know if you guys see anything. If where Val Kilmer and Ashley Judd standing at the window, and he gives her the sign because he's going to meet her, and the cops are already got her. So I love that movie. He's he's great. Hold on a second. But yeah, he's Michael Mann at his best.
Yeah.
Michael Mann at his best. And then there's Manhunter.
Oh, I'm down if you are.
I just got to make some time for it. I got to make some time for it. I keep hearing good things about it. I know Fourth is like literally a pitch man for the show. But yeah, and they're just staring. Oh, I love that scene, dude. That coffee scene. And I tried to do my best Al Pacino voice, but his voice ain't even his voice again because it's all the smoking over.
Oh, and I remember telling you about our friend Caliendo when I introduced my dad to him. That was the joke that really, the impression that really got my dad was his impression of Al Pacino's like, "You sir are a liar. Your pants are on fire."
He won that. I thought that was a brilliant performance by him. You too, for that to be what he won his Oscar for, Sensible Woman. There's one scene in there though, because what's his face? The dude who plays his co-partner, his partner in that, not Matt Damon, but you know who I'm talking about, who plays his assistant. When he's got the suicide scene where he's got the gun and he's saying, why don't I just end it? And then his buddy's like, well, go ahead and end it. Go ahead and just give up. And then he gives a long speech while Al Pacino has it. That scene is the one that won him that Academy Award. There's other things that I thought Al Pacino should have won for, but I'm glad he's got one because when he won that one for the first time, I'm like, this guy's got 3 or 4 of them already. But no, Sensible Lady or Sensible Woman was his first one. Yeah, we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week ago. I'm apprehensive about this because even the one that Michael Mann did in 2006 didn't do for me and it was a good movie. There's something about the 80s, the time and the place and the atmosphere that is as much a part of Miami Vice is Miami Vice. And even if Michael Mann is going to do it, he's not. It's going to be another capable director. I don't know if you can replicate what the 80s is to Miami Vice unless you're going to do a period piece, like a Grand Theft Auto type of thing. Dick Tracy is considered to be a widely successful hit. There's a link at the top of the chat, guys.
Yeah, that was the first thing I think I ever saw Al Pacino in was as a big boy for Caprice and Dick Tracy.
Yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis. I'm retired. That's why when somebody told me they're retired, I don't believe them.
Yeah,
never believe people.
Yeah. I mean, that's why when I mean, to not to bring it always back to this topic, but I mean, when Ben Affleck says he'll never be Batman again, I mean,
yeah, like I said, when people say that, well, he said it himself that he would never do. Like I said, guys, and I brought this scenario up. I'm not moving to Alaska. I'm not moving to the Antarctic, right? Because it's cold, right? Mm-hmm. I'm telling you right now, as of 10:43, William is not moving to the Antarctic. Now, if somebody with a company based in the Antarctic comes here with a silver suitcase with a lot of cash and more to come, comes in here with $6 million in cash and then a debit card to account that holds some more, and frappuccinos and fat burgers. They will build one for me there. I don't have to go in. Guess where William's going? William's going to the Antarctic. We're going to get some parkas, and we'll find a way to make deal.
Get some parkas.
All right. So the situation at that now, when I told you at 10:43,
you weren't lying.
I was being honest with you. I was telling you the truth.
That's what you thought at that point in time, the space-time continuum.
Exactly. 10:50, somebody comes in and pops open the thing and is like, well, okay. And I'm on the plane. We're on our way to Antarctica. Now, was I lying? No. You never try to box somebody into a statement that they said one time when the situation changed to another.
Hey, Daniel Day-Lewis. Yeah, you weren't lying, but an X factor came into play that was not present when you said the first thing.
Yeah, I'm not being a hypocrite. I'm being a capitalist. This is I really damn.
Yeah, this is really. It's been hard to watch this. Kind of the news with Bruce Willis on, which my heart just goes out to his family and.
Kudos to his family for you're supposed to stick by your loved ones. You're supposed to be there till the end, but it doesn't always happen.
And the Razzies actually they kind of had to walk back because he got the last couple of years he got like a whole bunch of like worst actor or worst supporting actor awards for like a lot of the kind of like the.
And they attributed it to his condition.
Yeah, and they realized like, oh, okay, because it's like this was something we didn't know was going on at the time. And I interviewed a couple of people who worked with him on some of his more recent work, and they. Spoke very highly of him, but I mean, looking back on that now, I mean, they probably knew stuff I didn't, and it's it is what it is, but it sucks, but it's
sorry
to see the star of one of the greatest Christmas movies of all time. Sorry,
he wasn't in It's a Wonderful Life. He wasn't even alive then.
No, really, in all seriousness, it's very unfortunate. So it's really, really just best, all the best to him and his family right now.
Yeah, it just sucks to even talk about it, but you have to. Daniel Day-Lewis is the instant Academy Award nominee, no matter what.
He was actually Zach considered him for Jarrell and Man of Steel.
He had his choice of Academy Award winners.
Yeah, and they went with Russell.
All these damn Superman movies, dude. Oh, by the way, James Gunn, Superman, Danny, you are the only cinematic. Because Jor-El wasn't in Superman. Was it Jor-El in Superman Returns?
Yeah.
Just a voice, though, right?
Yeah, it was just like the archive footage of Brando. And,
Okay, so James Gunn, the gun nuts. You're the only one that cast Jor-El that's not an Academy Award winner. So there, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Bradley Cooper hasn't won.
Marlon Brando,
Russell Crowe.
Marlon Brando 06, Russell Crowe. And then had he done that, and then But
Bradley Cooper hasn't won.
No, he should have won.
Yeah, I agree, but
he should have been nominated. In fact, he should have won for A Star Is Born. He was great in Star Is Born. Lady Gaga, I think, might have won for that one too. But American Sniper, man, that was such a good beat. So just because he hasn't won doesn't mean he's not of that level.
Oh man, when I saw American Sniper, let me tell you something. Because that also had like a lot of again, the very polarizing topic, figure, and all that. Let me tell you something. When I saw that. When that came out, it was like 10 years ago now. I still remember this clear as day. When I went and saw that in my theater, I have never seen so many people clearly over the age of 60 in the audience with me. I mean, this appealed to the boomer generation like you can't even quantify.
Which movie is this?
American Sniper.
Oh, dude, that movie was, and they take a lot of liberties.
Yeah.
But they what they did is, like I said, the one thing I like about that movie is a lot of people, I don't know why this is so hard to bring up, the mental health of people that are in that situation. It just gets put to the back seat too many times. I think our government has done a fucking abysmal job. And I'm not talking about any particular administration. I'm talking about administration, since wars have been fought in this country, have done an abysmal job funding these things, making money available, making programs available for vet homelessness and vet mental health. The people who do it do an awesome job of what they have. But I think our government has and our the people in general have let down war fighters that come back and deal with things. We fought 2 wars for 2 decades, and we can't find the money to help these guys, and it just makes me angry. So that's a different story. So all right, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up because we went 2 hours.
No,
we went an
go
hour longer.
We got to go back on the Gina Carano, Rachel Zegler, Jared Leto, and all that.
Guys, if you're going to, I don't mind you guys leaving stuff in the comments. I don't mind that at all, and I don't mind you disagreeing with me. But please watch the whole show. Don't zoom through the show and pick pieces and morsels and say, "Well, did you read the whole fucking comment?" I had somebody the other day message me, and of course, I got to be a Snyder bro because I want this and that. I'm like, you're literally quoting me from a show where I told you how I wanted all this to end.
Was that from last night?
Oh, 2 nights ago. I'm like, actually, both nights. He was talking about what I talked about before on the previous night, and I'm like, I told you where I'm at with this night. That's why I zoomed in on the screen so that you guys would know where I'm at with this. And you just went ahead and didn't listen to that part. You went right to the part that suited your comment. I'm like, all right, well. All I can tell you is I'll timestamp this and I'll send you this, and I hope you can come back. I'm not going to ban you. You know who you are. I'm not going to ban you. I'm not going to, if I see you in the chat, I'm not going to ban you. If you're ever in the chat, you just sent a message. You weren't in the, but I'm going to let you, all I'm saying is we don't have to agree, but if you're going to come at me, at least watch the show. Watch the show, and if you didn't, you listen to everything I got to say, and say, well, fuck you, you're spinning bullshit. All right, but I would feel better about that if you actually are watching the show, because some of you guys who come at me are not watching the entirety of the show or the shows that I'm on. I'd have people, well, you said on the bucket stream, I'm like, did you roll the little mouse thing, roll it back a little bit, roll it back a little past, and now listen to everything I said. That's the only thing that annoys me, because you know what? We're going to have differing opinions, but just make sure that it's informed. If you're going to quote me, don't, do the whole thing. It's kind of half-assed the other way around. So, yeah. All right. Let's see. I want to say bye to everybody. Yeah. I saw that. I saw what you were going through, too. I saw that. And I'm like, and even I, from watching Max stream, knew that guy was like, okay, dude, you're telling me that you are not even watching the thing that's making you so angry to make a comment.
I didn't see all of it. I must have missed that part. Somebody was giving her guff in the Max stream.
Okay. You're gonna have a ball with that.
Yeah.
That's a potential late night watch party, Azteca.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and go. I will, I might pull a beneficial stream out of my ass tomorrow, but unless there's something massive, I will see you all for a formal stream on Tuesday night for the finale. The finale of Alien Earth.
Where that eye is going to, I'm telling you.
Something's going. I watched a video about that eye, and then that eye is going to cause, because that whole scene with him with the whole pie thing.
Yeah.
They have some theories about that are haunting, if any of them are true.
Yeah, I bet.
So, all right, guys. Let me find my outro.
Yeah, we got that, and then we got Peacemaker, the phase of season 2 that really is like the big kind of like, okay,
let's turn things around and make a new path. So I'm there for it to happen. I hope it's a fun conversation. I hope next week it's just all about us having fun. All right, guys. See you later.
See you guys.